Hey guys, Nick here from Just4U Studios, and welcome back to the J4U Podcast. It's been a while. Here with Dylan and Luke.
Hello.
Hi.
And this is the last episode of the J4U Podcast in 2019, probably, right?
Yeah.
Most likely, yeah.
But yeah, so this is going to be our main catch-up podcast, because originally I didn't do one in November because Thanksgiving kind of messed stuff up, and I was like, I'll be back to do a podcast at the beginning of December, so it's fine, and then I didn't do one at the beginning of December. Christmas came. So yeah, we got a good amount of stuff to catch up on. And hello, Lakeisha Jones, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, 2020, heck yeah, I'm excited.
New decade.
And yeah, we got a good amount of stuff to catch up on
so
here.
Let's just jump right in.
Exactly. So the first thing we're going to talk about, YouTube Rewind 2019 happened.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about those. Honestly, like
you should. So, and I'm gonna be honest. In this case, much as I shit on YouTube, I'm actually on YouTube's side on this one.
Okay.
So, I'll be honest here. So I didn't watch the last 2 years.
No,
I heard last year's was dead awful.
Last year's
but I heard this
was
year's
the
is
worst.
an improvement.
Oh yes. So so let me clarify the situation for Dylan and for anyone else who has not seen it. Before I get into that, though, let me just answer this question. This is a frequent question. When is episode 3 of season 3 coming out? Episodes 3 and 4 of Transcrafters have been shot. They literally were shot in August, I believe. And the files have been sitting on my computer. It's just Transcrafters. Yes, I did say it right. Wow, my brain is not in a good place right now. Transcrafters takes a long time to edit, and I have been very busy. But they're in progress. I unfortunately do not have a good release date because I'm going to be working on 2 short films, course college.
Going back to school.
Yeah, some other stuff. So I can't promise when it will come out. But literally, episode 3, episode 4 have been shot. It's a bummer because there's actually some really cool stuff that happened in those episodes. Like, spoiler alert, the highway fight. I actually like how that was shot, so hopefully it comes out good in the edit too. But yeah, so anyway, it's in progress. Can't tell you when. Wow, getting a lot of questions. Raise your hand if you saw Rise of Skywalker yesterday. Glad you saw Rise of Skywalker. We did a 2-hour Let's Talk Movies on it. So go watch that if you want to hear our thoughts, which is why Rise of Skywalker is not in our agenda, because we talked about it for 2 hours already.
And so we don't want to waste more time on it.
So go see that video. Marco, hello, welcome to the live stream. Fortnite skin got vaulted. Don't know what that means, Dylan.
I don't know what that means either.
Who do you like in the MCU? I'm a Captain America fan. Alright, now that we got all those questions out of the way.
Calendar Man.
Anyway, so back to YouTube Rewind. So, fill you in. 2018 YouTube Rewind is the worst hot mess garbage ever.
Well, and it was like the most disliked video.
The most disliked video on YouTube was made by YouTube.
Yeah.
And the main reason that it's so disliked is because it is so inauthentic in corporate BS.
Yeah, like disingenuous.
It's very disingenuous. And I don't envy YouTube's situation. As a platform, it's grown to this crazy scale to where now it's so much harder to represent every kind of channel out there now.
Fair enough.
Like, again, it's one of those things where you'll randomly discover a YouTube channel that has 1 million or 10 million subscribers and you've never heard of it. That wasn't a thing in 2015.
That's fair. Because the platform was a lot smaller.
The platform was way smaller.
Gotcha.
But then this past year, the 2019 Rewind, a lot of people call it basically a Watch Mojo video. So they wanted to keep it, like you said, it's the mentality behind it is YouTube went, okay, you said that last year's YouTube Rewind was not representative of YouTube. So this is literally representative of YouTube. Which I actually thought it was fine. Most people call it boring. Sure, but I mean, YouTube's also become a more educational platform, and I saw that as more kind of in line with some of the educational videos. I think it's people call it boring because they're comparing it to the high energy, look at all these creators interacting stuff. Yeah. Whereas this was like clips from videos with like, here's the top 10.
So basically, people want it to be in the middle.
Here's
they want it to be flashy, but they also wanted to
which I don't think YouTube can do. Because I spent a long time after the 2019 one came out say, okay, or no, the 2019 one came out, because both are on total opposite sides of the spectrum, but both were hated.
Yeah.
I actually have it up here. So the 2018 one had, I believe, 17 million dislikes.
Yeah.
This year's has 8.2 million dislikes, which is less. Still a lot of dislikes.
That's still a bit of a massive
for a video made by YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. So I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, if YouTube hired me,
what would you do?
What would I do for YouTube Rewind? And I think you need a lot of planning and a huge budget to try and win back the audience, and a lot of planning to really get a good sense of what people are looking for in Rewind. I'd almost give a gap year of research. What can we do?
Or at least start the research for the 2020 Rewind right now.
Well, yes, you would have to, but you'd still again have to do a lot of work of course correction to even figure out, once you get all that information of here's the most like blanks and most like blank, how do you present that? Because I think the presentation is also a thing that they don't quite know. So they need to take time to figure that out as well.
Gotcha.
But the other thing is, when you look at it from a business aspect, I can't imagine a way to where you give YouTube Rewind a bigger budget and hope to make that money back.
Yeah,
that's true.
I
think they might, at this point, with what it sounds like, they almost need to take a loss on it just to rebuild.
But again, what are they gaining from rebuilding it that's not financial?
That's true. From
a business standpoint.
That's
so I'm almost at a point to where I don't know if they can recover and give us that 2015 YouTube Rewind style. Because think of it also this way. How much money does it cost to fly a creator out to film their entire bit of YouTube Rewind? Because from the past, the way they were doing it before, YouTubers were complaining because they would donate a day or two of shooting to be in the background of a single shot in YouTube Rewind.
Or like where they were told that they were going to be in there a lot longer.
Exactly.
And then they show up in a split frame and that's it.
Yeah. So
when they could have been using that time to be producing
Exactly.
videos.
Whereas at least the 2019 YouTube Rewind, they didn't eat up any creators' time.
Yeah.
So they also saved money there.
Because they took content that was already produced.
Yes. So it's one of those things to where I don't know if... I think YouTube's grown to so big of a place, and they've become so disconnected with that big place.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and in fact, I think Matt Pat pointed it out, of YouTube back during those days was a community. What YouTube is now is a platform.
It's an industrial business.
Yes, to where YouTube, even when they're literally lobbying for legislation, lobbies it as they are not the community, they are the platform.
Yeah.
Because that gives them a lot of legal bounds of, look, if someone uploaded that, that's not our fault. Because it's not them, it's a platform for people to do what they want on.
Yeah, like we have no responsibility for what they're posting.
But when you look at that from the lens of YouTube Rewind, it's also clear why they're not as connected. Because their everyday work is structured as a platform. Which means they don't watch the videos. They're building it out so that the creators can make money on their platform, so they stay on their platform.
It allows them to make more money as well.
Exactly. So it's just that kind of change in mentality.
So basically, it's just a giant mess, and there's not much that
I don't know if there's a way to clean that up at this point in time.
Yeah.
Because again, even if you get a new head of YouTube Rewind person, I don't even know if a person can clean it up without a sizable budget. And to get a sizable budget, they would need to know that this will make a profit. Which the past 2 years have indicated it would not, even if it's the best YouTube Rewind made.
Exactly, yeah.
It's fair enough.
Yeah.
Now YouTube Rewind just has a bad name. So
yeah, like it's sort of a punchline at this point.
So even if it, like you said, even if it is like the absolute best one that has ever been out, people are still gonna dislike it before even watching it because it has the YouTube Rewind name.
Yeah. Like I remember back, like when YouTube Rewinds were sort of like a really fun thing to look at because. There was something sort of interesting with what they had, but yeah, like at this point, it's sort of just rocky ground in terms of production.
Yeah, and at least for me, back in those days, I'd watch it, and I'd recognize 3/4 of the people on screen. But YouTube's grown to a place to where they would need 1,000 people for even just the average viewer to recognize half of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even this year's Rewind, it points to... It has a section where it's like, hey, here's the top creator in India, the top creator in Singapore. And it's like all these big names, like the up-and-comers, or people who have been around forever that you've never heard of.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if they could do an old-style YouTube Rewind without the average viewer watching and be like, I recognize
5 people.
5 people, or
Yeah.
10% of the people.
Yeah.
Like, the beauty community alone on YouTube is massive.
Yeah, I could see that, definitely. But yeah, like, in terms of the people that would be able to recognize, it's sort of, like, only really a fraction rather than a decent majority or something like that.
Yeah, and I think Angry Skull kind of hits on one of my thoughts, and it's still, why does YouTube make YouTube Rewinds? They know that people hate the rewinds, so why keep making them? And I think that's kind of what we're seeing now. They tried 2 different sides of the spectrums, and the dislikes on both are massive. Why would they even invest the money they're investing currently in that?
Brand image, even though actually...
But it's such a negative brand image.
But,
I was gonna say...
it's a negative brand image, but at the same time, it almost... It's also... well, even though it's not the kind of publicity that you would want, it almost, in a way, is like free advertising for their platform.
I guess.
Kind of, but again, if the reason I think people also dislike 2018 is because that one was the most apparent that they use YouTube Rewind for their advertisers to say, like, hey, here's what our platform is like. If any of those advertisers see the dislikes on that,
That's true.
I almost think they need to figure out a new thing for advertisers.
But, like, my thing is like, first they make the YouTube Rewind, but then you think about it, how many videos get made about the YouTube Rewind? And, like, it's just like an everlasting train of people making videos about the YouTube Rewind, talking about the YouTube Rewind, and then, I don't know, I feel like, in a way, it's directing more people.
I would say yes, if it weren't for the fact that those people talking about it weren't talking about it on YouTube. Because I don't know how much... there's definitely some cross-platform talk of people tweeting about it, or news posts. That I agree with. But when it's the YouTube videos talking about YouTube Rewind, I don't know if that's driving new traffic.
That's true.
The Twitter and the other places, that could be driving new traffic. But I don't know if it's enough new traffic to validate
Fair enough.
to validate the whole production of it existing.
Yeah. But anyway, those are my thoughts on YouTube Rewind 2019. I definitely think 2019 is much better than 2018. But again, and I'm one of the people who's totally okay with this new format of YouTube Rewind. I just don't think from a business standpoint, Rewind is something that YouTube can continue doing. I think 2019 kind of marked the end of YouTube Rewind. And even a lot of the fan-made YouTube Rewinds I've seen people make in a response to this, I still don't think captures the essence of what people want out of Rewind.
Exactly.
I don't think it's a job that anyone can go and just do. Because, like, I see a lot of people talking like, oh man, it's so easy, they're just stupid type of thing, I don't think it's the case.
One thing that I have seen a lot of is, like, individual creators creating their own Rewind.
Oh, yeah,
and I think that's almost the approach that needs to be taken.
Yeah.
Or, like, if there's a big enough... If someone's big enough on the platform, they should just make their own Rewind, and then YouTube should just not do anything.
Yeah, but even that, YouTube's so big now, to where... Like, the person who I think would probably be the... I don't know if I'd say the best. I think he would need a committee to help him out. But I think has a voice in this is actually PewDiePie. Because the past 2 years he's made his own YouTube Rewinds that have actually been much better received.
Yeah.
And YouTube actually reached out to him for the 2019. Because he gave some notes that they actually took. So apparently it was worse. But apparently it wasn't enough, as he said. So, I think he would need a committee of other big YouTubers to help him do something, but...
Fair enough, yeah.
I think that would be interesting to have the single most subscribed creator be the main creative director for YouTube Rewind.
Yeah, exactly.
He would probably say no if they asked him, though.
Most likely,
But I just thought that was an interesting idea. But anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on, we'll talk about this much more briefly, because I don't think our audience is interested in this, but some of the YouTube updates around COPA and their removing hateful content thing. How familiar are you guys around those two topics?
I remember you discussed it with me beforehand, and I got a little bit more information, but I'm not, like, completely, like, 100% knowledgeable about, or educated about it.
I'll kind of just quickly go over the COPA thing. It's essentially, so I defended YouTube for the YouTube Rewind thing. YouTube's kind of stupid for this next one here.
Yeah,
so there was the whole, everyone remembers the whole adpocalypse situation. So in kind of YouTube's recovery mode, they went in and started telling advertisers that YouTube's a great platform for kids to drive up that advertiser money, because all advertisers want to market to kids because they're the best audience to sell shit to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kids go to their parents and say they want it.
Yep. The problem with that is the FCC found out YouTube was saying that. And there's an FCC law about advertising to kids that if YouTube said that, they would be in violation of. I forget the fine, but I believe the FCC fined YouTube $170 million.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
and
not great.
Here's the stinger. They're forcing all content on YouTube to now comply with COPA. So when you upload a video, there's a question, is this made for kids? And you have to select yes or no. The thing with that is that if you select yes, and it is content made for kids, you receive about 10% of your total profit that you could be making.
Because there's less advertising to
Because there's
children.
less advertising that can happen to kids. Now,
and if kids is like a huge chunk of your audience, then you're even more screwed.
Yep. So the people who were doing, maybe more edgy content, Adpocalypse hit, and they went to the far side and leaned into the kids' content. Now they're getting hit again.
Now they're like, all right, let's go back to adult content.
Because they can't do that because you still get demonetized. So now you have to kind of work in this more middle area.
21.
The real thing, which luckily YouTube and the FCC have both added clarification on, but for a long time this was a big headache for most creators, was that if there was a video that a content creator uploaded that violated COPA, let's say you marked it as no, when really it could be argued that it was made for kids.
Yeah. Like
you got hit with a $40,000 fine. Oh. So if you have 1,000 videos, or let's say 3,000 videos, 300 of them you missed writing down that they were COPA, that would be $340,000 fines.
Damn.
And for the longest time, COPA would not clarify what qualified as being kids' content.
Yeah, they're just like...
They just recently have, which is awesome. But prior to that, man, what a headache.
Yeah, it was just sort of like kids' content.
You either receive 10% of your potential income or get hit with a $40,000 fine. Not a great situation to be in.
Not really, no.
The other update that I want to talk about very briefly, because I think it's kind of less important, because it's always been a thing, but some of the latest actions have been kind of funky on it.
Yeah.
Is YouTube has started taking a more dominant stand on what they call hateful content.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, great idea. I think their execution of it could use some improvement. Because they kind of drew a weird line in what constitutes as hateful content.
Yeah.
And I don't want to misquote it, but I don't remember it off the top of my head what the definition is, but something along the lines of any content targeted at another person or organization, I think it is. Which, the tricky thing with that is there have been some critique videos that have been taken down as a part of that.
Yeah, like not just like a direct attack, like frivolous attack at someone, it's just a critique video.
So, are you guys familiar with iDubbbz's Content Cops?
Yeah.
So, YouTube started taking down its Content Cops, because those, according to them, counted as targeting another individual. A lot of the time, though, like the biggest one was the Leafy Content Cop, he was calling out Leafy for targeting other individuals.
Yeah, it's like...
other people.
It's a bit of a weird ground.
Which
now.
is very odd, because Leafy's videos have stayed up, but that Content Cop went. So...
Yeah, it's kind of...
Interesting.
Anyway, so I just thought I'd bring that up, because I think in that situation, YouTube has the right idea, Their execution may be a little off, though.
Yeah, like, they need to improve that. Please.
But anyway, so going back to the chat, how likes Ghost Rider? I assume you mean who likes Ghost Rider. I like the character. The movies are kind of the cheesy, goofy fun.
They're like early 2000s cheese.
Yes. Like pre-MCU superhero movies.
Exactly. Yeah, like, but not Spider-Man good. It's like...
Yeah, yeah, fair point.
It's like Daredevil.
Yes. I like the character a lot, though. If Michael Bay directed the next YouTube Rewind, please no. Please no. The Bad Boys were good. Okay. Fair enough. Hedgehog movie. Hi. Hello. Welcome.
Hello, Hedgehog
We'll be talking about you shortly.
Hopefully.
Alright. So, now moving on to movies and TV show stuff. The first thing I want to talk about, Mandalorian, all 8 episodes have come out.
Oh, yeah. We got all episodes. Finale came out not too long ago, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be honest, I haven't seen it yet.
any of the episodes?
No.
Oh, man. Okay.
I've heard really good things.
It is, that and Fallen Order are the two things that have got me excited for Star Wars again.
Yeah.
Then Rise of Skywalker happened, I went kind of meh, and then I saw the season finale of Mandalorian, and I'm back on.
But I heard people are outraged that they have to wait so long for season 2.
Which, I mean,
Well,
deal
you have
with
to get-
it.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
how
like-
long did you wait for episode 7 to come out after the prequels? I mean,
Yeah.
calm down.
Yeah, yeah,
Like-
exactly. It's like, you know it's coming out at least at some point very soon.
Yeah.
It's
They're
not-
filming it, so calm down. It's not like they're like, I don't
It's
know
probably
if we're
already
going to
almost
season
filmed.
2. Yeah, like,
Let's be honest.
I think they started shooting it when the first season came out.
Because they knew this was most likely going to be pretty successful.
As soon as people started seeing Baby Yoda, they're like, alright, green light it, we're good.
They're like, just make sure...
Just do it. We don't care.
Put them
Just
in the
do
background of every shot.
But-
And people will like it.
But now that we have a full season, I'll kind of give my thoughts on it. And I think, overall, the season is great. I love the tone of it. It's different, which I think is a good different.
Yes, a very good different. It's like, we've had a lot of Star Wars films at this point that have kind of fallen a very specific storyline, very specific aesthetic and whatnot. Now we kind of have something that's like, the same world, but we can now do something visually and in some way different.
Yeah, like, I love the homage to, like, samurai films and spaghetti westerns and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
God, the first
score's
episode.
great. Like,
Yeah.
I think the only episode I dislike is, I want to say it was episode 6, which is a bummer because it was the Bill Burr episode.
Oh, yeah.
I was not a fan of that episode. I think
I
all
get
the
that.
others I liked.
Yeah. I was kind of... I don't remember what episode it was, like, number of episodes, but the episode where he goes to, like, that little village that's basically being raided
Oh,
repeatedly.
I thought that was fine, because I liked what it did with the Mandalorian's character.
Yeah.
From a plot standpoint, I can see where you're coming from,
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
it's more just the plot, because I like the development of, like, the Mandalorian kind of considering settling down or something like that, but he's like, nah, that shit wouldn't really work for me, because this has been my life for the past how many years.
Yeah, well, and the whole thing of protecting the kid at the end.
Yeah, and of course, like, the protecting Baby Yoda.
And IG-11, awesome. Like, Taika Waititi, especially directing the final episode. That whole Stormtrooper intro is probably my favorite part of anything Star Wars I've seen in a long time. It's so good.
I remember someone described it as almost like a lost, like bit from Red vs. Blue.
Yeah. But I would watch literally an entire show of those two characters. Just imagine them going around the galaxy doing different patrols.
Yeah.
Like, having different contexts. Like, man, those Ewoks, dude. My kid wants one of them as a teddy bear. I don't know, like...
just like the most mundane things. While, like, much more exciting things are happening, like, all around them, while they're just, like...
Could you literally imagine, like, they're supposed to be patrolling Endor during episode 6, and it's like the whole Endor battle's going on, and they're just standing, like, it's happening behind them, and they're trying to shoot a rock.
Yeah, no, like, they're just like, man, I can't seem to get this one. But, like, in the background, you just see, like, when the walkers, like, fall over.
Right? Man, I would watch an entire show of that, but it almost made me think, like, because episode 8 has gotten pretty good reception from what I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be cool if Disney saw that and went, okay, hey Taika, we'll give you X amount of money to just make a show about whatever you want.
Yeah.
And direct 8 episodes of it.
Make a Stormtrooper show.
Yeah, or not even Star Wars, just anything under the Disney banner that he wants to do. We just green light, go out and do it, have fun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, considering how much success he's kind of been giving Disney, I'd say he could probably. It's more likely now, I'd say.
Yeah, and like his style of the New Zealand humor is just so great. And this episode 8, I think the reason I liked it so much is it had a lot of that humor he's known for, but it didn't go overboard on it.
Yeah,
I thought Thor Ragnarok at times went overboard with it. This I thought was it had it, but it wasn't consuming. He still focused on, alright, this is the season finale, make sure to pay off all these things, and a couple of my jokes here and there.
Yeah, like he has that opening to sort of like relieve you of the tension of it being the finale episode and having, but then going back into the plot and being like, like focused, serious on the rest of, like the whole shootout thing, and the buy tomorrow, make your decision. It's like, that's still like taken seriously. It's just like we have a little like disconnected moment that has a function in the story, but it is just kind of fun.
Yeah. And Moff Gideon is such a cool villain.
Honestly,
like,
yeah.
He's the only Moff at this point who I'm like, yeah, I'd be scared of that Moff. Especially the last shot of the episode was a huge fan moment I don't want to talk about because it's kind of a spoiler-free section. But man, as a Star Wars nerd, that is awesome.
Yeah. No, it really was like a pretty satisfying like final moment.
Yeah.
One thing I also kind of want to bring up is the score for the show.
Oh yeah.
Because like at this point we've always associated Star Wars with like these big orchestral like scores. John Williams, and now we have something that's like it's still Star Wars, but it's distinct in a different way. It's got the same composer that did Black Panther, and it has a lot of the same feel that it has from that, but like something that's a bit more sci-fi inspired rather than just like grand.
Yeah, and to me it has also that kind of Western adventure vibe to it.
Yeah, which this show definitely is not shying away from a lot of the references. I thought like the first episode basically was basically like the ending of the first episode was like Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Instead it was with a disgruntled dad bounty hunter and a like mentally unstable robot.
Yeah, which is the last thing I'll say about it. I just love how much emotion they're able to convey with the character who barely talks and wears the helmet.
Yeah,
I'm so impressed by that.
Yeah, just like the little mannerisms and sort of just like the body language can convey so much more than like if we did see his face or whatnot.
Especially because I think something just came out that Pedro Pascal is rarely in the suit.
Yeah. I was gonna.
They have a stand-in. Like
the
fact that the stand-in is pulling off a lot of that acting is cool.
Yeah, that is actually pretty cool. Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that. I was gonna be like, yeah, he probably wasn't in that suit all that much, but since I was always hearing his voice, I was just like mentally just assuming, yeah, he's in that.
But anyway, the last thing I'll kind of talk about, this not related but kind of related that I didn't want to put on the agenda because I just want to give like a couple lines of it. This is another Disney Plus series that started at the same time, has 2 more episodes in it. Is High School Musical, the musical, the series.
Oh yeah.
Which has the worst name ever. Like, I've been watching all the episodes of it, and I will say it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be dog shit awful. It's good. It's not great, but it's good. It's essentially Glee, is what it is.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Which, the thing I think I like the most about it is it doesn't take place in the High School Musical universe. It's about a high school that's doing the High School Musical show. Hence the name, High School Musical, the musical, the series. Which is still stupid. It's the dumbest name I've ever heard.
Like, I know why it's called that,
but Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
This is worse. It's the most stupid name. Give it a better name. And I honestly think one thing I would... So my main problem with the show, I have a couple, but my main problem with it is I don't think it works as a... I thought it was an 8-episode series. It's a 10-episode series. I still don't think it works as a 10-episode series. I think it needs to be a 22-minute, 30-episode sitcom, not a 10-episode, 30-minute sitcom.
Gotcha.
Because with those type of shows, like a Glee or any other, what type of show? Like a Big Bang Theory type of thing, you need time to develop the characters, get the audience to know them. because I think 10 episodes, they're like the characters are their strongest part and it's their selling point, but they're having to try and rush it to fulfill a 10 episode season.
Yeah, essentially.
Where let's say 22 episodes, they could have more filler, more character development. The way I would love the series to flow is a 22 episode series where they have the A storyline of doing the show, the B storyline of their love triangle thing, and then like an episode of like, all right, this episode we're focusing on this character. Then we have another episode where we're focusing on this smaller character, and just giving them time to breathe with the audience, as opposed to trying to do that A plot and that B plot in 10 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Just like narrowing it down so much so that it's not really any time for like, you know, like the sort of just slower moments to like kind of make it work and feel like cohesive. Episode
5 was supposed to be, I think they're kind of like the mid-season whoa moment type of thing. Like if it were an actual 22 episode season, it would be like, all right, we're going to take a 2-week break after this episode.
Yeah, the mid-season finale sort of
but
thing.
Because they only had 4 episodes leading up to this big WTF thing, I didn't care. And I wanted to care.
But it just didn't hit the way I was trying to.
But if they had done that after 18 episodes of getting to know the characters, and they made it like part of the right before the season finale, I'd be more interested. Literally just have that same episode, but have more episodes come before it, and I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
The fact that there was only 4 episodes, the emotion wasn't there.
Yeah, it was just sort of... It just felt very kind of, I guess in a way, maybe tacked on, I guess.
Yeah. The other thing that it annoys me about the series, because I see more and more mediums using it, and it works sometimes, not always, is it has the fucking Office Parks and Rec shaky zoom cam.
The photo documentary stuff.
The mockumentary type of thing.
Yeah.
I like it in very few situations. This is one of the situations where it doesn't think it works. Because in my brain, the reason you do that is because you want the audience to know that it's the actual camera doing it.
Yeah.
But when you're in a high schooler's house, as he's having an emotional moment with his parents, and you're zooming into his face right before he says a line, ruins all the emotion for me.
Yeah, you just kind of... Because, and then at that point you're aware of, this is like someone's filming this character, then you're realizing, wait...
Yeah, it's a high school character in his bedroom at 10 p.m. at night. What the fuck is the camera operator doing there?
And then you realize, wow, this is a fictional medium and these characters aren't real.
Yeah, like, I would...
And then...
The lighting in the show. This is the biggest credit I'll give it. Amazing gaffer. Amazing lighting. There are some moments of lighting that are, like, really good moments.
Yeah.
But then you got the great lighting and then...
Yeah, like just the strange camera choices.
I really dislike it.
Do they at least have, like, something where it's, like, with The Office, where it's, like, interviews with, like, the people in it? Okay, I guess
But I also think it's a little bit too... what's the word I'm looking for? It's the easy way out in a lot of situations. Where they just have a character say how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are shows and movies and things that can pull that off. I think too many mediums are doing that, though.
That's right.
And I think this is one of those moments where I kind of get why they're doing it. I don't think it's a good enough reason to totally justify it, though.
Yeah, as it just seems like you're saying easy way out, I guess.
But anyway, so I just want to quickly talk about that. And moving on to the next thing, the Sonic movie, they released a trailer with the updated CGI.
They did, yeah.
And I'm going to be honest.
Did you hear about... There was I think it was like a Japanese trailer or something that leaked Baby Sonic.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. There's a clip of Baby Sonic.
It looks very cute.
Interesting.
I'm on board for the redesign.
Same here, yeah.
Yes, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm still in conspiracy theory mode. Of they planned this from the start, because how much fucking marketing did they get? For this, especially because more have come out that they were early into the CGI, and it's probably likely that the only shots they had done were the shots used in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So I still stand by the idea that they had those 2 designs. The director wanted the one you saw in the first trailer. Other people wanted the one that we have now. And the director's like, okay, hold on. Do these shots with this design. We'll put out a trailer. See how the audience, if the audience likes it. Keep doing the rest of the scenes in this design. Otherwise, we'll switch over.
We're going to redesign to make it seem like we care about the people.
So I'm still in conspiracy theory mind that that's what happened, because either way it would have worked out for them people love the new design? Great, then keep doing it, they'll go see the movie. People hate it? okay, we'll have the whole
We'll make
redemption
them-
story. We'll be listening to the people
it'll
who
be-
makes the new design.
And it's free publicity.
Yeah, because honestly, if that new trailer came out instead of the first one, I would go, meh, alright. But because we got the
We
first
got that
one,
comparison.
We
it's
know
like,
what-
oh my god, I'm so excited. Look at how good Sonic looks.
Sonic
Yeah,
looks
and
like
that's all the
Sonic, and that
conversation.
makes me so excited.
And that's
Yeah.
what the conversation is. So I'm still conspiracy theory hatting that this was planned.
Big old tinfoil
It
hat.
comes out Valentine's Day?
Yeah,
Something
I think
along.
so.
Which I
Okay.
think the redesigns did push them back, but again, I still think that was kind of the plan of like, if we do have to redo those shots, alright, we'll just tell the producers we want an extra couple weeks here.
Yeah. I could see that, but
But,
I'm
I
not-
mean, we don't have that much information, so...
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll just wait and
They
see.
did show a lot in that most recent trailer.
That's
Like, there was a point where like, stop it.
It's too
No,
much.
I like it already. You don't need all this extra
I don't
stuff.
need to know the whole story going in.
Yeah, like, as soon as he started throwing darts in the diner, I was like, did I start the movie on accident? Like, how is this happening?
Yeah, like
Pause.
it
That's
looks,
not a trailer scene.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow.
it just seems like we got into where it's like, oh yeah, here's just like
They're
a
like,
little-
we're gonna
filler
100% make
moment.
sure that people like the movie now. We're not gonna take any chances. So we're gonna
Yeah.
show more than we should just to cover ourselves.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how good it'll be, but at least at least they.
And that's still the thing. I think by doing the designs this way, they save themselves from a lot of scrutiny of the plot. That if they had that bad design, people would just be shitting on it. But
Yeah.
now that they did the redesign, I think people will go in and be like, story wasn't that good, but Sonic looked great.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's still going to have that kind of positive spin on it.
Yeah, like people be like, you know what, you tried, and I'll give you the positive review just for that, I guess.
Whereas if they didn't have that first design and they just put out that, I think people go, Sonic looks fine, but I mean the plot sucks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it would have that more negative spin.
Exactly. It's just more like a.
The rule of comparison.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, that's kind of our thoughts on that. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else to say?
I was just gonna say, like, at least I don't have to see the trailer again with the old design. That's the best benefit I can say from this, is that I won't have to see that most likely ever again.
Yeah. Well, the next thing we're going to talk about is, what was the date on this? I have it pulled up here. November 14th, The Rock put out a post about Black Adam. So I'll just kind of read you that. And it's a picture. I can't tell if it's fan art or concept art. Because it has the release date, and this was when he announced the
What
release
is
date.
this?
But that looks like fan art.
Fan
thing,
art.
'cause that's
What's
the
the
name.
bottom right?
2019, Warner Brothers Entertainment, TM, DC Comics. So it could very well be concept art, and that's just a concept artist's name.
Yeah.
But I'm also not totally sure.
So it's one of the two. It's something fan made or made by them to promote the film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I might get some water while you guys are talking about this, since I don't really have any thoughts on Black Adam.
Sounds good.
I mean, it doesn't come out for another 2 years. So.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't even seen the concept art thing, so I'm just like, I don't have any thoughts.
Fair.
Now's my chance.
But
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
as soon as you get out here, I'll kind of read it.
Alright. I'm just gonna
But
like...
let's watch this, see how this goes. Alright, going under the cable, bumping the table. Alright, another cable, you can do it. Oh, there's the other mic we're not using. Alright, keep the army crawl going. Yep, watching your legs.
Marie.
Good call. And he's out. Cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, the post reads, the man in black, like most kids growing up, I dreamed about being a superhero, having cool superpowers, fighting for what's right, and always protecting the people. It all changed for me when I was 10 years old and was first introduced to the greatest superhero of all time, Superman. As a kid, Superman was the hero I always wanted to be, but a few years into my fantasy, I realized that Superman was a hero I could never be. I was too rebellious, rambunctious, too resistant to convention and authority. Despite my troubles, I was still a good kid with a good heart. I just liked to do things my way. Now, years later as a man, with the same DNA I had as a kid, my superhero dreams have come true. I'm honored to join the iconic DC universe, and it's a true pleasure to become Black Adam. Black Adam is blessed by magic, with the powers equal to Superman, but difference is that he doesn't toe the mark or walks the line. He's a rebellious, one-of-a-kind superhero who will always do what's right for the people, but does it his way. Truth, justice, the Black Adam way. This role is unlike any other I've ever played in my career. I'm grateful. Going all the way, grateful to this journey. Black Adam 12/22/21. So the interesting thing about this, to me, is the way that he talks about Black Adam. It sounds like he's very much so a superhero. Mm-hmm. Whereas Black Adam in the comics does some good stuff sometimes, but he's most known as Shazam's archenemy.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious on this different take on Black Adam they're going to be doing. It seems very much so he's going to be kind of the anti-hero vibe of, like, as he puts it, doing good, but doing good by, like, alright, let me murder all these people, and I'll save this one person who I care about out of the village, they'll make do.
Yeah, kind of just more ambiguous in terms of his character.
But much more heroic than we're used to seeing Black Adam.
But again, we don't really have much information other than that, so...
Yeah, but find it interesting. So I thought I'd bring that up. Mm-hmm. The next thing, which I believe, Dylan, you pointed out...
Hello, James Games. Our agenda for the podcast is actually in the description of the stream, so you can kind of follow along with where we're at, and yeah, we're kind of at the beginning of the movie section right now.
Yep. So, something that you brought up that I totally forgot about is that Deadpool 3 was recently
officially confirmed by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he was actually... So he had a post on Instagram kind of ambiguous of him in front of the Marvel Studios sign, and then on Christmas Eve was on Kelly and Ryan, to which he said, I won't play the clip, but I'll kind of narrate it back for copyright reasons. So I believe Ryan asked if there are plans for another Deadpool in the franchise. Ryan Reynolds says they're working on it right now with Marvel Studios. They have a whole team. He says Marvel Studios is the big leagues, and he's excited to be working on it. So
it's confirmed.
Yep.
We knew it was going to be confirmed, but...
Well, at the same time, under the Fox umbrella, the plan was that instead of doing a Deadpool 3, they were going to do the... what's the team name? Darn, it was a big point of Deadpool 2. I'm blanking on it. The X something.
X-Force?
X-Force, yes. So instead of Deadpool 3, Fox was going to do an X-Force film. So it looks like Marvel's saying, okay, let's hold off on an X-Force, but we will do another Deadpool.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time, Ryan was like, I don't know, maybe we'll do another Deadpool, maybe we won't. Right now, I'm really into this X-Force thing. So I think Marvel came in and was like, hey, so X-Force, how about we put a pin in it, and we do another Deadpool film? And he was like,
just to make sure. Just to make sure.
Which I think Ryan Reynolds was much more okay with doing a Deadpool 3 under the Marvel umbrella than a Fox umbrella, because now he gets to do all of his jokes with MCU properties.
Yeah,
which must be a dream come true of him, because now he can, like, go into his bedroom and have Spider-Man heart pictures all over the wall. Officially make fun of Tony Stark without having to beat around the bush with it. Yeah. He can do, like, direct things of, like, holding up a trash can lid and being like, Captain America! And leap into action or something.
He has more freedom.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think he's much more okay with the Deadpool 3 now because he has a lot more freedom with it.
Yeah, I'd say so too. There's a lot more opportunity for, like, superhero-specific jokes.
Yeah. We'll see where that goes.
And even Disney-related jokes he can make now.
Oh, true.
Like, he can literally call Bob Iger out and be like...
He can literally joke about anything because
Disney
owns everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So Deadpool 3 officially confirmed, and I think it's going to be a lot more exciting now that he has all that freedom. Let me just catch up with the chat here. But yes, Transformers, best Transformers Minecraft maker ever. Thank you. I mean, there's not a whole lot of competition out there for that, but thank you. You're eating cinnamon rolls. Nice. My sister-in-law made for Christmas a cinnamon roll apple pie.
Dude,
that is really so fattening that I like every time I eat it. I like, this is so good, and I just gained 12 pounds by looking at it.
Yeah, I got diabetes just from looking at it.
But yeah, so next on the agenda, which I haven't seen yet, so I'll let you guys talk about it, is Uncut Gems.
Ooh, yes, I would very much like to talk about this actually. Mm-hmm. So, I was actually surprised it's got like a really wide release. I knew about it way before it even came out because I've really enjoyed the filmmakers' other films, the Safdie brothers. They've made Good Time, which was a film with Robert Pattinson back in 2017. And the best way I can kind of describe their style is like, you know how there's like movies that are like, feel good movies for like when you want to feel good, horror movies for you want to be like terrified, intensified in some way. They make films to just give you like an anxiety attack. That's essentially their style, is like films where people are trying to like get themselves out of a very desperate situation and just fail upwards, just like continuing failing upwards. And this is kind of just another film in that sort of style, because Adam Sandler's character is like a jeweler who has like been owing money to like multiple different people, and every time he gets money, he just decides to like gamble on like basketball games to get like even more money, which, how well that would probably end up for him, and he continuously fucks up everything. And it is like a contained like anxiety attack of a film, because it's stylistically not very much like any other dramas I've seen. Like, there's a lot of overlapping dialogue of people just like yelling at each other. The music's like this very pulsating kind of sounding score.
So going off of that, so one thing I wanted to say about it is part of the reason I'm intrigued to see it is because I heard like the tension is unlike any other tension that a film has really ever seen. Pretty
much, yeah. That's actually a very good way to say it. Is like, there's films that have like tension build up in like very conventional ways.
But it's very like conventional. Whereas this, I've heard, is like something we've never seen before. Which I think introducing the idea of something, like a new style of tension into like this like filmmaking scene could be really good.
Yeah, honestly, and it's not going to work for everyone because, like, I've seen, like, a lot of audience scores just sort of, like, mixed on it. But I think if it works for you, it'll really work for you because it's very specific. But also, the other kind of notable thing is Adam Sandler gives, like, an amazing performance in this movie.
I'm really happy to see Adam Sandler flexing his acting muscles.
Yeah, because, like, he actually does have chops, and this film is, like, a great example of that. And yeah, there's just, like, a couple of scenes that are just, like, wonderful and just, like he has, like, a very specific charisma, but you also kind of see how, like, kind of pathetic he is as, like his character. And the last act is honestly just, like, a bit insane, to say the least. Because it's, like, the idea surrounding it sounds like it shouldn't be that interesting of a climax, but in terms of the context of everything else that happens, this is, like a time bomb about to go off. And I would recommend it to anyone who does not have issues with stress. So, I don't know how many people that would be, but would recommend it.
I'm sure we will definitely talk about it in our year in review. I'm sure it'll appear at some point in that ginormous podcast.
Yeah, which, good way to plug. We will be doing our yearly year in review podcast fairly soon. We're just finalizing our list, seeing final movies that we want to get in there. And we were actually kind of, without naming names, briefly talking about how we're doing with our list before this podcast. So I'm really excited.
Also, should I also kind of give the announcement on our...
Yeah, plug it.
So, for also the Film Award nominations that we've done just a couple of days ago, to let everyone know who's watching the podcast, the awards will be out on Thursday. What time do you think we should probably do it, though?
We typically do it in the evening.
Yeah, I'd say, like, expect it at some point in the evening. We may post, like, a specific time when we're, like, certain about it. But, yeah, get excited for that.
Alright, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is Rian Johnson's Knives Out.
Really want to talk about this, too.
I have a feeling I'll be in the minority on this, but we'll have a conversation.
That's
so,
understandable.
Are we at a point where we're spoiler-free still? Do we want to save spoiler stuff for the year in review, or...
Yeah, I'm fine.
We do have a lot of stuff.
Spoiler freeze here.
We have a lot of stuff to
spoilers
talk about,
in the year in review.
I'd say so too. Yeah.
So, I'll start if.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So,
and spoiler warning for Knives Out. If you've not seen Knives Out, year in review.
Yeah.
I got ahead of myself.
Yeah.
No spoilers is what I meant to say.
Right now, but
no spoilers for Knives Out.
Pretty much, the year in review is going to be fair game for basically all spoilers, unless the film just came out within the last week or two.
Days. Yeah.
So my overall thoughts with Knives Out, my biggest thing that I thoroughly enjoyed is that it was a mystery film, but it was an unconventional.
Very unconventional.
It was a very unconventional whodunit film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if this film was a traditional whodunit film that we've seen 100,000 times,
mm-hmm.
it wouldn't have worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
But I think since it was untraditional and it did some things that weren't traditional, I think it sold it for me a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that too, because yeah, like it has a lot of sort of the tropes and sort of stylization stuff, like, you know, the kind of big mansion, and it has like that the whole Agatha Christie kind of thing going on.
Like, it still, don't get me wrong, it still has whodunit vibes, and it still does some of the stuff a traditional whodunit it was, but it makes enough changes where it's not. Because at a certain point, traditional...
It makes one very notable change, which changes the whole dynamic.
But like,
like
traditional whodunits, we've seen it too many times, so I feel like in order to have like a really successful whodunit film, like Knives Out did, I think you need to do something else. You can't just follow that same structure.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of revitalizing it now for like a different age, because there's at one point where they probably were much more like popular of a story.
But yes, I think I know what you're saying as well.
I agree too. But like it knows what to keep like the same, but like what to change for like a better, like interesting
viewing experience.
Exactly. And also just like it also kind of works as like a comedy as well in some areas too. Like I absolutely love Daniel Craig's performance in this whole movie. I only say like tiny specific things, but there's a monologue about donuts that's kind of one of the funniest things from this year in my opinion, and if I'm excited for anyone who hasn't seen it to find out what the context of that is.
Yeah.
So what were you gonna go off of?
When I left the theater after seeing the film, it was kind of similar to Last Jedi in this way. There are some things in the film that I really liked, and some things that I really didn't like. I think the difference for me between this and Last Jedi is that after kind of letting it simmer for about a week or so, I still had with Last Jedi things I didn't like and things I really liked, but I landed a lot more on the positive with Last Jedi. This one, I think I'm landing a little bit more on the negative, honestly.
Fair enough.
Because I think the things that it does well, it does very well, but there's enough meh to things I don't like about it to where I don't know if this is going to be a really memorable film for me.
That's understandable.
Because the one thing that Dylan was talking about, it's the most interesting part of the film, is kind of that change to the whodunit formula. For me, at least, took out a fair amount of attention.
I guess,
for that kind of middle of the film. I think the end was awesome. And I really liked the interactions between Christopher Plummer and the nurse. I'm blanking on the character.
Anna de Armas.
Yes. I really liked all their interactions and all their scenes. It was nice to see Chris Evans doing something other than Captain America.
Yeah, and something very, like, character-wise different from Captain America, too.
Yeah. I just wasn't a huge fan of a lot of those other characters. Which, again, they weren't characters you were supposed to like.
But and also, I think part of the reason I think part of it is we didn't get enough character development, I don't think. I think that's one area where the film is lacking a little bit. They try. There's a specific, like, I'd say 20-minute section of the film that is trying to devote to character development, but I think it's done pretty poorly.
Yeah, and there's one character in particular in the family who I think gets the most character development, and it's the one who kind of levels with the main character. But even her, I wasn't totally, like, interested in as much. Like, I was interested in the premise of her character and kind of that inner conflict of, do I side with my family or this other person? In execution, I didn't think we got enough time with that character for it to be as rewarding as it could have been.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that element of character development was sort of like, had the promise of something, but didn't really fulfill it all that much.
Yeah, and even Daniel Craig's character, I thought was kind of meh. I wasn't thrilled about him, but I will say the one thing that would get me more on board is if there were, like, sequel films of that character solving other mysteries.
That's
could get me more on board with it.
Apparently, Rian Johnson is basically, that's kind of what his idea is if he's thinking of doing Knives Out sequels. He may not. He may be going on to other things, but he says if there is enough of a demand and he feels like there could be something, he's thinking of doing basically just that, where it's like more of Daniel Craig's character.
Yeah, because I think as a standalone character, to me, his character was kind of weak, because he's a shitty detective until the last 5 minutes. There's a shot, which
at the end, everything just clicks all of a sudden, and he just rambles out everything.
The other 90% of his film, he's dumber than a doorknob.
Like literally, Anna de Armas' character is like the one who's actually like solving the mystery.
Yeah, and
pretty much.
There is a shot of him just staring past the camera while someone's doing something in the background.
Oh my god, that's the funniest part.
Like, you're such a fucking idiot.
I think it's just so great because it's like everything has set him up to be like he's like the greatest detective in the world, but like he has like shit ass like detective qualities.
Yeah, like. And it's one of those things to where I think I would warm up to it if we got more films of that kind of dynamic, but just as a one-off experience.
I see what you're saying.
I can get that. For me, I guess, like, I didn't really mind as much of, like, not as much character development for the family, mainly just because, like, there was at a certain point who I knew who the actual central character was, and I was like, oh, I'm more latched onto her character rather than, like, the family, because they are sort of, like, written to be one note, but, like, you know, they don't have the most development, but I think it's more development from understanding the context of their situation.
And I think I would have been okay with that if I felt more tension during that central character's arc.
That's fair.
There wasn't, for me at least, enough of that tension. Because even the moments where I was like, oh shit, this could be really bad for that character, I wasn't totally invested in that moment as much as I wish I would be.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I could totally see where that comes from.
But yeah. And again, there are elements of it that I absolutely love. It's just one of those things to where I think those moments for me will be memorable, but not the film as a whole.
Yeah, just like little bits rather than...
Well, and who knows, maybe if some more filmmakers take chances and do more styles like this, maybe if you revisit the film, you'll have a different perspective on it.
Yeah.
It's just right, like you said, it's really the first time we've ever seen something like this.
Yeah, so, which I give Rian Johnson a ton of credit for. Because he's kind of...
Well, and for having nothing to go off of, if, like, you look at it from that aspect, the film was pretty much incredible. Because...
That's his brain baby, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
But, yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say on that.
I'd say so. Same as well.
Alright, so the next film we're talking about, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Yes. Great stuff.
Which, I'll kind of start by saying that Tom Hanks... is
my gosh,
like a national treasure, right? Like,
at this point, yes,
he's a national treasure playing a national treasure.
Yes,
pretty much. And it's like the thing that makes it so like impressive to me is that Tom Hanks doesn't really look or sound like Fred Rogers,
not at all.
But like the entire essence of Fred Rogers is like perfect.
Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't an impersonation.
He
just was Fred Rogers.
Yeah, he basically kind of exuded the same energy from what Fred Rogers was as a person and also like what he tried to represent as a person.
Yeah, like literally at the end of the credits, or maybe it's the middle of the credits, they have a shot of the actual Fred Rogers. And I was literally sitting there going like, man, Tom Hanks was great. And then that picture came up and I was like, whoa, who's that? Oh my god, that's the real Fred Rogers.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, wow, he looked like that. I forgot. Like,
just like completely forgot that
that is not Tom Hanks' face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the other thing I like is, for a movie about Fred Rogers, it's not about Fred Rogers.
Yeah, it's more about, like, his message, essentially, like, that he's given. Because it's about the journalist that tries to interview him for Time magazine. And
how Fred Rogers' message impacted his life.
Exactly, yeah. And in terms of sort of, like, kind of in sort of representing of how his messages affect everyone in some ways, shape, or form.
Yeah. Which I thought was the most appropriate way to handle a Fred Rogers film.
Yeah.
Because I could see if it was an actual day in the life of Fred Rogers for it to be very endearing, but still very kind of bland. And we got that kind of thing with the documentary, which was great.
Yeah.
But I think to get another thing like that would be just kind of, especially compared to the documentary, just missing the mark.
Yeah, it'd be like, why
I think
bother?
this was the right approach to take a documentary, or a film about Fred Rogers.
Yeah, like a narrative film.
Yeah.
So, the two things I will say is, one, I think it is really cool that that Tom Hanks is like super farly removed, actually related to Fred Rogers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that is cool.
He's like the sixth removes. It's like a whole giant chain, and then eventually a family member name. So like he's very indirectly related to him, which is
Tom Hanks Roger.
which is like something minor, but it's cool. And then I think there was a lot of like controversy surrounding the film. I think I saw a lot of negative stuff about the film, but I didn't see that much positive stuff about the film, which I was kind of surprised about.
Yeah, no.
Because I think, but like you were saying, it's not like people were expecting it to be just about his life.
Then go see the documentary.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It was literally last year.
I know, but people were expecting to like see another documentary, and they didn't get that, so they're like, "This film is garbage." But I think because it isn't a documentary, I think it still worked well for what it did.
I also loved the lighting and cinematography.
Oh my!
Yeah.
There's
That
the one
final
that
shot.
final shot. Oh my god!
That was like the perfect like way to end off that film. Honestly, with that shot,
It's definitely one of my favorite closing shots of the year.
Yeah.
For sure.
there's one thing about the cinematography that I liked, and it's just a weirdly specific thing. But like all the moments where they're like replicating the show, it wasn't just. It didn't look like they just took a digital camera and then put like a VHS filter over it. It looked like they actually filmed on like little video cassette tapes.
Even though they just put a filter on top of it, but it was enough. It was done well enough where you couldn't tell.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's definitely times where you can tell, whereas that was like I don't know if they did or not, and I like that.
Yeah, and the structuring of an episode of his show was cool. Like the transitions at first, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird," but it really warmed up to me.
Yeah, it was actually kind of really endearing, and there was one moment that was like supposed to be sort of a kind of uncomfortable moment that implements the element of the TV show that actually worked surprisingly well. And because at first I thought I was like, no, it's not gonna do this, is it? But then I was like, oh wait, now I know why it's doing it like this. It's sort of a spoilery moment, so I won't really get into
and
specifics.
I think I know what moment you're talking about. So but yeah, it was I really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Go see the film.
Yeah, if you
while
had
it's
the
still
money.
in theaters.
No, like when I walked out of the theater, I just had like kind of like a warm heart.
Yeah,
It was just kind of like I was like, yes. That's how I pretty much felt afterwards.
It's cool that Fred Rogers is making a comeback in 2018 and 2019. Like,
much deserved comeback.
Yeah. But documentary is great. I think Tom Hanks killed in this. All the actors in this, I thought, did a great job.
Yeah, really. I loved the guy who played the main character's dad. I thought like
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I don't remember his.
I do like that there was that little side story going on.
Yeah.
I think it kind of brought a new element to it, so it wasn't all about Fred Rogers.
Yeah.
So it's like Fred Rogers, but there's also something else going on in the background that, in the end, Fred Rogers kind of helps take care of. In a way.
Yeah. It's sort of funny in the way that like his character was like, I don't want to write a puff piece about Fred Rogers. It's almost like the film was also like, I don't want to make a puff piece about Fred Rogers as a film.
Yeah, go see it right now.
Yeah. See if you haven't already, I guess.
Yeah. In a film of the same exact tone, we're moving on to The Irishman.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I haven't dedicated that much time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
It's like
I
4
did
hours?
it
3.5 hours?
3.5.
Yeah,
I did it in 2 sittings. Because I was like, the first thing I was like, oh man, I don't have to take a break from this. I really like where it's going. And then I checked and they're like, oh my god, there's still an hour and a half left. Okay, never mind, I'm going to pause it here. Like,
yeah. Just
I'm like, okay, I think we're like, nearing the third act. It's like, oh no, we're at the midpoint. Okay.
So, is it too long?
No, which is the weirdest thing I could say about this film.
I'm totally agree with you on that. It not
somehow
long.
made a 4-hour film that doesn't feel long. Like I just said, I watched
everything
that
is
much.
purposeful. Like you don't get done watching it and feel like, wow, they should have cut this out, and made it a 2.5 hour movie.
It's a mob epic, so even the moments that don't serve the grand purpose, they have a purpose at some point.
Yeah.
And tell you little bits about the character's personality that inform you for the last act.
Yeah.
It's literally about the characters life, essentially.
Essentially.
So from like a young adult man, World War II, to him in a retirement home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's literally, you're essentially following his life non-chronologically as well. So it's kind of flashbacks and that type of stuff. Yet somehow doesn't feel long. Like, if
really
this was
doesn't.
made by someone other than Scorsese,
Yeah.
I would be like, fuck, kill me. Like, this is, god damn.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like...
Like, if J.J. Abrams made this film, I would get 30 minutes through it and then be like, man, these are interesting questions.
Yeah.
Not going to get resolved, and the mid-action is not at all entertaining.
Like a J.J. or a Zack Snyder where, like... It just feels more like padding rather than, like, a purposeful, like, element of the story.
Yeah. Whereas Scorsese, it feels so, like, authentic.
Yeah, and purposeful in terms of it. It's like time is basically like a key element of the entire film, as it's basically just about like aging and sort of how pretty much the work of being a mobster is something that'll kill you by the inside by the time you're 87 or something like that.
Yeah, and like all the acting was great, but like I also love the historical elements of it.
Mm-hmm.
Of like something will happen and it's like, oh yeah, I learned about that in history class, and I'm watching it now in The Irishman from the point of view of the main character.
Yeah, like through the point of view of someone who is living it, but also just from a different context than what was going
It's on Netflix, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very Scorsese film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there were moments when I was watching it, it was being like, oh yeah, I forgot that's the Scorseseism. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, like my favorite is the freeze frames that he has, but like instead of it just being the freeze frames, it's like someone from the mob and saying like shot in the head 3 times, 1981.
So,
my favorite one is like somehow at the 2.5-3 hour mark, there's one person who's like died peacefully in retirement.
Oh yeah, like respected by all.
Yeah.
Died peacefully in 2001.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So without kind of spoiling any future content, is this something that I need to watch prior to our year in review?
I would personally say so, but I guess it depends on like your feelings on Scorsese's other films.
Okay.
Because it's absolutely like one of the best of the year. I won't say like specific, but like yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say it's up to you. Because I thought.
I mean, I don't
want
to miss. I don't want to miss the opportunity of it potentially being on my list by not watching it. So if I need to dedicate
maybe
4
watch
hours or
the
3.5
beginning
hours
of it,
of my life,
and if you're
or get my
invested in
feelings,
yeah.
Or if I could still probably watch a good chunk of it and get an overall feeling for the film and make my determination off of that.
Yeah, it's also feel like what's the structure of it? Because it doesn't follow us to react. It doesn't feel like it follows us to react. But I can tell you where the climax is. I can tell you what the inciting incident is.
I kind of feel like it's almost like
weird.
it's almost like a 2-act structure.
So it's from the sounds of it, it almost sounds like it's almost like 2 films merged to one. No,
it's
almost like it could, if it was told chronologically, I could see it as a mini series of like this is this decade of his life, this is this decade of his life, this is this decade.
Gotcha. Okay.
For me, I can kind of agree with you that if tonally it feels like 2 different films, but it's not just like at some point it's completely different. It's like a slow morphing.
Yeah.
Because the first half is very reminiscent of like Scorsese's like classics, like Goodfellas. All the mobster films of his, of his, like, his most famous mobster films with, like, a very stylized approach. But, like, the second half is a much more, like, subdued and, like, melancholy, somber experience.
Yeah.
Like...
It's paying off the first half, essentially, in a lot of those setups.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a good example is, like, the whole film has, like, a very, like, excessive use of, like needle drops from, like, the era and all that sort of thing for, like, these very cinematic moments. But, like, something that's very noticeable about the second half, especially during, like, a very pivotal kind of, like, build-up to the climax, was, like, there was no music at all, no crazy cuts. It was just, like...
that's true.
Super static. Which is crazy because, like, Goodfellas had a similar scene with, like, like, a whole, like... the build-up to, like, a possible climax, but it was, like, fast cuts and, like, the crazy use of music and narration was still going, whereas this one was just, like, letting it play out very dryly, but... You knew what was going to happen, and it was just kind of like dreading it to happen.
Mm-hmm. Which, that was my favorite part about the last act. It's set up, and like, oh, so this is going to happen, and then it really does a slow grind into letting it happen.
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, so what? because he's done this for so long that he knows the plan, but they're not directly conveying the plan to the audience, so you're kind of watching it like, oh, so is it going to happen now? Oh, fuck, no, he's letting it slow burn even more.
Yeah, like, you don't get the sense of, like, the characters like, we gotta do this thing at this time or whatever. They just keep saying stuff like, it is what it is, and, you know, like, not like, saying directly what is gonna happen, but you know what it is, and so that long haul of getting to the moment is just painful, honestly.
Yeah, and hello, Dread TV, or Dreadlord TV, and hello, Infinite TV, Atomic Mudo. Welcome to the live stream, both of you guys. Glad to have you. But yeah, and then the last thing I'll say about The Irishman is the de-aging actually looks good, especially considering it's not the same company that does all the Marvel de-aging. Like, yeah, it's a different technique to it, which I think it still sold it on me on pretty much all the shots.
Yeah, I'd say, like, there's only, like, some moments here and there, but, like, there was never a moment where it was, like, completely taken out of the film, like, nah, that's just, like, dumb.
There were a couple shots of De Niro to where, like, little shiny in this area type of thing. But agree, it didn't take me out of the moment. It was more of, like, an observation of, like, oh, that's CGI. Okay.
Can I actually talk about something that's sort of related to that? It's sort of funny. There's a video that's been circulating pretty recently, I'd say, which was a video of people doing an attempt at doing de-aging on, like, doing, like, better de-aging than the Netflix film did on the characters. And, but it's not phrased as, like, an attempt. It's like, no, we made a better de-aging effect of it. They just deep-faked it.
Well, yeah.
And
which
everyone in the comments was saying, oh my god, it looks so much better. And I'm just like, you guys are dumb. Because it was like, the thing about, like, the de-aging effects in here is that they're still going off sort of like the old
performances.
Yeah, the performances, but also like the old versions of these actors, because like Robert De Niro doesn't really look like young Robert De Niro, but like he looks young in a different sense.
He looks like a young Frank.
Yeah,
like the character he's playing.
Exactly. Whereas these people just plastered like Taxi Driver photo of Robert De Niro and was like, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, whereas deepfakes also, I think the main reason that I think my argument with the deepfakes would be, deepfakes are essentially taking existing images, but when you're trying to craft an original performance, that's not gonna work.
No, like
you'll get image. 2019 Lion King if you do that.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just like something horribly unnatural.
So, and it's like, oh man, that looks great, sure, but you can't tell what he's fucking feeling.
Yeah, like you
miss those subtleties in the emotion.
Exactly. Whereas, like in here, you can see it very clearly.
Yeah.
Like a case of CGI actually like improving the story in a way because they know how to use it.
So, next film we're going to talk about, which I probably won't have much to say on it, is Dark Waters.
Oh yeah, Dark Waters. It's a good movie. It's a very good kind of like investigative sort of style film, and I always like those kinds of things. It's also the second film now in Mark Ruffalo's career. He has a whole, it's time, we need to release it, and everyone's like, no, you can't, you'll ruin your career. It's like, but it's the right thing to do, and it's just like, oh man, is this Spotlight? Oh,
so one thing I will like, one of my favorite things about like that film is some of the shots are so well done that you could literally cut out, like, this film could probably be like 30 minutes of all the like purposeful, really meaningful shots, and I think I would enjoy it just as much.
That's actually pretty cool. I didn't even, like, I guess I couldn't. There's definitely like a lot of like great cinematography in the film, and
like it's not even just like there's just a little bit. It's like, yeah, like sure, there's some traditional cinematography, but at the same time, well, I have something in my eye. There's a lot of shots that they were taking a gamble on, but I think they paid off.
Yeah, definitely. I could remember a good number of shots that are like really nicely set up that have helped kind of like establish that sort of tone and just the overall.
And like to me, there was not really any awkward transitions. I think the flow of the movie, which is something I was worried about going into it, with like what the movie was about and everything else. I was worried that there was going to be some like weird tonal shifts and like some weird flow that didn't work, but everything seemed to work fine. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
You're cradling baby Kermit
Sorry.
as he's talking about Mark Ruffalo. It's just in the filmmaking. It's just great.
Oh, sorry for anyone who can't see it. Here you are.
I mean, yeah. So
Yeah, you weren't even doing it for the camera. You're just
I just
holding
felt
him for you.
pretty much.
you didn't see it, right?
No, I did not.
So
Which
I
I've
mean,
heard fantastic things about it.
Yeah, and I mean, something I think I sent in our group chat afterward is, I mean, I haven't seen any of Mark Ruffalo's older stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think seeing Mark Ruffalo in a role like that was definitely eye-opening for me.
Yeah, he's a great dramatic actor.
Yeah, definitely.
But I didn't know that
Yeah.
until now. I basically, Mark Ruffalo, I was like, yeah, he's Hulk and Bruce Banner.
That's fair.
Yeah, well, I've seen movies of him to where, like, the script doesn't seem totally there, and the lines he's saying are kind of weird, but his
it's Mark
delivery
Ruffalo,
of them
so
makes them work, which is one of the biggest credits I'll give him.
Yeah.
So he can take bad lines and make them usable just because
Yeah.
he's the one saying it
To where-
in his...
Exactly. Whereas if it was
Right.
anyone else, I'd be like, ooh, that script is bad. Whereas, like, I'll watch him and be like, oh, that's a neat character quirk. It's like,
Yeah. There's definitely a lot. He has a lot of really good stuff, like Zodiac and I mean,
Yeah.
I joked about
Oh, I
Spotlight.
forgot about Zodiac.
Yeah, that's one of my faves. But yeah, like
Yeah.
Spotlight's essentially it's essentially Dark Waters, but just for a different kind of like topic, I'd say.
Yeah.
In the sense that's a very procedural kind of dry but like engaging experience.
Yeah. Man, it's funny you said that, because you're thinking Zodiac, Mark Ruffalo, and then okay, it's not the moment I was thinking of with the bad dialogue, but the first film that came to me, I was like, yeah, Mark Ruffalo, dramatic acting. I'm blanking on the title of it, the Magic movie he was in.
Magic movie.
With fucking, from, Zombieland, and, what's her name? Isla Fisher.
Let me look up Mark
Now You
Ruff-
See Me.
Now You See Me. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, Mark Ruffalo, Now You See Me. It's like, yeah, that was his shining accomplishment of his career.
Kind of a low-key guilty pleasure, not gonna lie.
Same. The second one is, like, rough, but the first one, I don't care about some of the BS loopholes. I'm like, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. The ending doesn't make any sense at all, but like it's fun. I haven't seen the second one though.
The second one takes that stupid, crazy magic stuff up to 12, and Woody Harrelson plays himself and his twin brother.
So it's adaptation. Sure. Whatever, I guess.
But yeah, so I mean,
Yeah. Alright, well,
go see the film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely would
So-
recommend it.
next film on the list, which is fairly similar in story tone beats, Richard Jewell.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. It's a movie. I don't have much of anything to say about it other than it's a very Clint Eastwood movie, and yeah,
How old is Clint Eastwood now?
he's like fucking 90, like almost 90, I think.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Clint
if you didn't say
Eastwood.
that answer that quick, I was about to make a joke of like 212, 213.
He's 89.
89.
Okay, so
That's honestly younger than I would have guessed, though.
legit, yeah, but no, like. If you've seen literally any other Clint Eastwood movie that came out this decade, it's just the same gray color palette, sort of like slightly about like moral ambiguity in terms of like law enforcement or like, you know, the
I will say, who
patriotism.
played Richard Jewell? Hold on.
Paul, I think it was like Paul Walter House or something like that.
I do have to give him a lot of credit, though.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah, definitely.
like he hasn't been in a whole lot of stuff before this, but he did actually do a pretty good performance.
Wait,
I'd say.
hold up.
Hmm.
I didn't know Leonardo DiCaprio was a producer for the film.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
he was,
And
I
Jonah
forgot.
Hill.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
It had
Yeah.
like 10 producers, I guess.
Fair enough.
Let me see.
Man, Leo must have had an interesting year then.
yeah. Oh god, did he do anything else this? Oh yeah, he did Once
Once Upon a Time.
I'm not gonna lie, kind of forgot about that movie.
Oh yeah, Paul Walter Hauser. I mean, I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
He took with what he was given and worked with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
He did
he's
pretty
probably the strongest part of the film.
good. I'd say so too. I like Sam Rockwell a lot as well, but
Yeah.
he was definitely a part of the highlight.
Mhm.
Is
Not much to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you again seen a Clint Eastwood movie, you've probably seen it already.
I mean, it was more watchable than some of the films that I've seen this year. So
That's fair. That's at least something, I guess.
Alright, next film on the list we have Bombshell, which came out fairly recently.
Yeah, which is the second, or which is like, so there's two movies that I really want to see before you're in a review, and that's the second one.
Yeah, so...
Have you seen it?
I have seen it.
I have not seen it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Take your ropes.
I guess I'll keep my thoughts fairly abbreviated then, and the performances I really liked, and it's essentially these three different characters and their stories and how they interweave, and I think there's some really great moments in it, but it does this fucking thing that I complained about earlier that I get the reason for, but I don't think it's justified enough. It has The Office, Parks and Rec, shaky cam zoom-ins.
I was gonna say it has more of like the from what I saw in advertisements, like The Big Short or like the Adam McKay's sort of like curtain style with like weird editorial choices here and there.
And I watched a video of him defending it, and kind of his mentality of it was to give it that you're always being watched by a camera kind of vibe, nothing you do is secret type of thing. Okay. I don't think it's executed like that. Yeah. I think it was like, oh, this would be cool if we did it like that. I will think of a reason for it later, but let's do this.
It's like
so it's like COPA, basically.
They just
it has moments where I get it, but it's a little too on the nose when a character's in a scene, does zoom in on the face, they look at the camera, say a line, and then just go back to the scene. And I'll be like,
wait,
why?
Really?
Don't. Why? And there's some moments where I'm like, yep, I get why you did that. Little too on the nose, though. You didn't have to say it right to my face. I would have got it if you made it part of a line or made it subtext. You don't have to look at the camera and say that. There are also a couple scenes where a character is just having a moment with the camera, breaking the fourth wall, like, oh yeah, here's how Fox News works, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, alright, next scene, I'm not gonna know you're here, though. So
yeah, it's just sort of...
like, it's a style, for sure. I don't think it worked great in this movie.
You should have just edited the sentence that's just a style for sure.
Style, for sure.
We'll see.
I much prefer the films that handle this kind of subject matter, but do it more as a drama.
Yeah, like it just is straightforward. Not
the camera is this kind of omniscient view. I'm all for films where the camera has like it's a character, it's a blank.
But have it with purpose.
But when you make the camera purposefully a camera, so the audience is aware it's a camera, you gotta make sure the logic backs it up.
Exactly.
The Office, they're constantly aware their camera's watching them and make note of the camera watching them. Mm-hmm. It works. But when you're having a heartfelt moment of a character talking with their lawyer about how fucked they are, and then it does a zoom in, it's like, who the fuck is filming this?
Yeah, like it just... The way that it's filmed isn't... Like, it's stylized, but it's a style that doesn't really benefit the story, like, in the emotions at all.
Good to know.
So, it has, like, again, some acting's great. It has 3 individual character stories. There's one I like more than the other 2, but all 3 I think are good.
Mm-hmm.
Is the overall story good?
Yeah, I think as the first, it's the first, to my knowledge, film to cover the Me Too movement.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does a good job.
Yeah.
Of kind of covering the early part.
But basically, we have nothing else to go off of, so...
We do have nothing else to go off of. And again, the cinematography bugs me. I don't think I remember the lighting doing anything fun or special. It's really just like, hey, the acting's interesting. Yeah. And it's more of a... Not really a period.
So basically, if you were going to recommend the film, it would be strictly for acting purposes.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that's fair.
And they did a good job playing the characters they're going to be playing. In most of the cases, it's basically about the inner workings of Fox News. So there's a couple people who are like, hey, that's Hannity, and it's like they didn't cast someone to be Hannity. They're so hey, he looks like a funny Hannity. You're in the movie.
Yeah, like it just
that's not as but the person who played Megyn Kelly, I thought rocked it.
Mm-hmm.
Margot Robbie did a great job. I thought the main 3 characters and the guy who plays the CEO of Fox, their performances I thought were great.
Well, there's at least some good performances in there.
Yeah.
Noted. What is next?
Next is El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
I did not watch it.
I did not watch it.
Yeah, I did not either.
Okay.
So I guess we'll
Because
move on.
I haven't finished Breaking Bad yet.
That's why I haven't seen it either. Okay.
Well, move on.
That was awkward. Moving on.
Moving right along.
Oh man, moving on to a fun one now. Cats. So,
Okay.
Oh, shit.
we're talking about Cats, and
Very
Yes.
for
non-spoiler
transparency,
free.
yes, so they have seen it. I have not, but I've seen the musical. So, Cats, let's hear it.
All right.
I'll let you. I know you have some more positive feelings towards the film, so I'll let you go first.
I'm not sure if they're genuine positive feelings about the issue, but like, okay, so
because to me, I have two large gripes about this film, which I won't actually be able to talk about until the year in the review.
That's
But
fair, yeah.
I will destroy this film in the year in review. But I will give some general overall thoughts.
Yeah.
all right, so Cats to me is like, all right, so to give you
That should be a
Cats
t-shirt.
to me.
Cats to me.
Cats to me.
No. So. Cats to me.
So, Cats. So to give you my background on getting into this film, I had pretty much like no interest beforehand seeing this movie for a while, until reviews started coming out for it, basically saying it was like someone put $100 million into a midnight movie, and I was like hyped as fuck now. Not sure for the right reasons, not sure if it's what the filmmakers intended, but I was hyped nonetheless.
Can I pause you for a moment?
Yes.
Literally in that, when you said you're hyped as fuck, Kermit literally went. And that another Kermit thing you did wasn't for the camera, just did it for yourself.
Oh my god. But, yeah, so I decided to watch it. I decided to just watch it at a late night screening because I didn't really have a lot of time on my hands at that point. There were like 6 other people in the theater. And honestly, waiting in anticipation for the movie to start was one of the scariest, like, moments of my life. Just being like, I'm about to watch this on a film screen at the dead of night. And, like, there are kids here.
The cats just come from the aisles. Like, oh God, save me! Ah!
No, like actual cats that just start standing on their hind legs and just like, what the fuck? What's going on? But no, it started, and honestly, it's one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. But I kind of love it for that. Like, again, it's not the reason to enjoy the film because it's not, what they intended at all. But,
So
like,
kind of similar to why you love Venom.
exactly, it's like this year's Venom for me personally, in that it was, I will never see a film probably like it ever again, and probably for good reason. But it's also just like I wanted to look away, but I couldn't look away at the same time. It's like watching like a train wreck. Exactly.
Can't look away but want to is pretty much how I describe the actual musical.
That's fair. So I mean, I guess it's a good adaptation then. But there's just some things in terms of like decision making that terrify me. Like, I won't say like the context of what happens in here, but like, why are the mice and the cockroaches also like motion capture with human faces?
Oh, that is bizarre.
Why
Okay.
why is there a part where Rebel Wilson's character rips off her cat skin to reveal just like a random dress?
Random dress, yeah.
Why is there a champagne?
No, but
Okay.
keep in mind she has cat fur underneath that too, so she has 2 different layers of cat fur.
True.
So I will say none of what you just described is in the musical.
Why
So-
why is there a champagne cum shot in this movie?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So
Why that specifically?
So, yeah.
yeah.
Say your things and then I will go.
So just kind of off hearing that. So I will say the actual Cats is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Mm.
And I've seen a film called Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh, you told me about that.
Cats is bizarre, but if you were to make an adaptation for film of Cats, the approach that I wish they would have taken would be to go for the best makeup and costume Oscars and go all out on that. Because I think CGI could work, but it's going to work in the way that it did in this film.
Yeah.
Which is really bizarre. Which, again, I'm sure the costumes and makeup felt bizarre when that first went up on Broadway, because that was nothing like what had ever been seen before.
Yeah.
But the CGI from everything I've seen is weird. I've also heard some people talk about the CGI.
Oh yeah,
and that there are moments where you can see the cat characters floating like an inch above the ground.
Yeah, and there's like a shot with Judi Dench's character where it's just a regular human hand and you can see her ring.
Yeah, like if they shot it practically and had actual sets, that could be really cool. And like the way I envision musicals is wide angle oneers for a lot of songs.
That could be cool, yeah.
And like if they did that kind of approach, and the other thing that I think it would definitely be a lot more divisive, but I think would represent Cats better, is if they incorporated more of the T.S. Eliot poetry. Because it's almost like they didn't go weird enough in my mind. Because like 2019 dialogue in CGI Cats is a bad mix in my head. Whereas the makeup T.S. Eliot combo that the musical did was bizarre as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's like weirdness, as opposed to the CGI Cats way over here weirdness, but 2019 dialogue. Like, it's...
I would say it honestly is actually a lot weirder with the 2019 dialogue just randomly showing up. Because then you just suddenly have a breaking of realization that these are just, like, regular people.
Yeah.
For like, a brief moment. You kind of... When they're doing, like, their singing songs, you kind of maybe momentarily forget that, you know, it's... people a bunch of like costumes.
Also, because also I feel like knowing the songs, they feel better with T.S. Eliot poetry, because both are kind of like crazy what the fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tonally consistent with what the fuck am I watching.
So
yeah, it's
so my thoughts real quick. First of all, I will say I was bored.
Fair enough.
Second of all, this is where I'm at. Last night, I went to see Spies in Disguise.
Okay.
Okay? I enjoyed that film more than Cats. Okay?
That's fair.
Second of all, or third of all, wherever I'm at.
Yeah, I think you're third of all.
This film has, to me, it was one of the worst opening scenes for a film that I've seen in a long time.
That's fair.
Which I'll say, the actual theatrical performance, the opening can be very, if done right by a good director, very beautiful. So that tells me that they did a different kind of opening.
To me, it was not beautiful. I don't know about you.
Okay, so like...
It felt really awkward.
It felt horrifying, actually.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
It gave you a lot of uncomfortable vibes.
That's the thing. I think it's like the way that they filmed some of the shots, too, is the reason why it's like so unsettling.
Okay, and another thing is I don't know like the actual play and what like the storyline is, but to me,
what storyline?
Okay, but my thing is this film felt like it was very flat, and the story was like very tiny.
Yeah, I'll say with the musical, there's not really a story. In fact, one of the reasons I heard, I think it came from one of the producers of the actual Broadway thing, is it was made to show off great dancing and beautiful costumes. And they're like, we don't need a story. So there's kind of like, this happens, and this happens in the play. I don't know if I'd call it a story, because there's not even really dialogue. It's just cats reciting T.S. Eliot poetry, and the audience is supposed to go like, oh yes, that's quite intelligent of you.
Well, so I will say
observation.
The film does attempt to have a story, but I think it's almost so weak that they should have just not had a story.
Fair enough.
And from what I've heard, it's almost like they tried to take the story from the play, like, oh, we'll kind of flesh it out, but the story the actual musical had was like so
non-existent.
And I will say, and the last thing I will say before we move on, because I don't want to talk about it anymore, that this film, on top of it having a really uncomfortable first scene, I disliked the ending scene even more. And without going too much into context, which I think you would know what I'm saying, there's a scene, the final scene of the film contains a part where she talks straight to the camera.
Oh, right.
And it feels so out of place. Like, the character was staring into my soul and talking to me, like, having a conversation with me, and it's not okay.
I almost want to.
Can you agree?
Yeah.
When you look into the void stares back.
But like, can you agree with me that
No,
that
like
did not
that was
feel
so
right?
fucking weird though. Like that was okay. So as someone who liked it in an ironic sense, that was one scene that genuinely was like, no.
No, and then
please
so
stop.
then after that whole like staring into my soul thing, they try and like make it a super wide shot and make it like look really beautiful to make up for it. And I was so caught up in the fact that this character just had probably like a 4-minute conversation with me that I couldn't even look back at that. The only positive that this film had for me is that it had some really beautiful shots.
Okay,
But
That's fair.
to me, some of the shots would have been more beautiful without cats. Like, give me the film, take out all the cats, just give me an hour and a half.
The film's just a blank line.
No, just give me an hour and a half of the shots that the film had without the cats, and I think I would have been happy.
There's that reminds me of a site that's called Cinema Without People, which is just like shots from movies that don't have people in them. I should find that for you for a cast.
But I'm just saying, like, this. I will say some of the shots do make up for a lot of the downfalls that this film has.
Fair
but
enough.
Yeah, it's the film that I'll try and see soon, especially because like I'm someone who saw the musical.
yeah, and
I guess you could say I enjoyed the musical.
I would
but
be
it's
curious to hear your comparison.
It's the weirdest. It's like I said before, the weirdest thing I've ever seen. To where like, so an action musical, you sit down, you watch it, then there's the intermission. You have 30 minutes to try not to kill yourself, so you can go sit back in your chair again and watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
I loved the intermission. Just kind of started walking around, and I thought to myself, okay, what has happened thus far? And I couldn't tell you a damn thing that had happened thus far. And I was like, I sat down for an hour and a half, and I don't know what just happened.
So my concluding thoughts, because I think we should move on, but my very concluding thoughts is like how you were saying where you were like, you wanted to look away but you couldn't. To me, it was like, I wanted to look away, and I like should have looked away.
Fair enough.
But,
Yeah.
That's totally understandable.
And I think my final note will be something I heard from another reviewer is even if it is a great adaptation of the original Cats, there are some things that should not be adapted to film, and this is probably one of them.
Weak sauce. I will take all the terrible adaptation that this film gave me, cause yeah, no, it's a horrible decision. I don't know like who put $100 million into this.
Oh, easily they went like, man, Cats is really successful. Let's make a movie out of it.
Then they're like,
Hire this director. Well, he's never seen it. Fuck it. You're hired.
Then they're like, let's just pay an arm and a leg for all these big names so that we get people to come in.
Well, yeah, that's why you cast big names.
And then no one came to see it.
Yeah.
So what is next?
All right. So next on the list is Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh yeah.
So that was a film that I wanted to see, but I didn't get around to it.
See, Ford vs. Ferrari is a film that I've heard good things about, but have not had the urge to see.
So
I love this live action Cars remake.
So to me, like the trailer caught my interest kind of, but then I saw the runtime of the film.
What's the runtime?
It's like
2 hours and 40 minutes, I think. Let me see.
This thing was like
V
2:37, maybe, I don't know, something like that. I did see it,
2:30
though.
too. But to me, that 2.5 hours seems too long for that film.
It really is.
The trailer makes it seem like it's an hour and a half film, and the fact that it's an hour longer than that was kind of terrifying to me. And at the time, there was other films in the theater that I'd rather see.
Yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna go see these, and then by the time I was like ready to see Ford v Ferrari, I was like, it's not even playing anymore. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. That's just kind of standard biopics or stuff.
So basically, there's not much to say about it.
No, it's got fun racing sequences, and Matt Damon and Christian Bale are pretty cool, but like, there's nothing really else I can say that's like, wow, super crazy, it's amazing, or anything like that. It's just very mid-level, I'd say.
Yeah, which for me, the premise seemed kind of interesting to me, but I don't know if it was interesting enough for me. Like, well, let me order my ticket, drive my car to the theater,
Drive
sit
my
down and watch
Ferrari.
it.
No,
Like,
I'm gonna drive my Ford.
If it were on TV, I'd probably sit down and watch it. Or if it went to Netflix, I might sit down and watch it.
It definitely, it feels like watch with your dad on AMC at like 2 p.m. sort of thing.
But again, but like you're saying, it being too long, like, I think it being too long just would bore me more.
Mm-hmm. Nah, like, it would have been, like, I feel like I would be much more kinder to it, if it was just cut
your
down
traditional hour and 40-minute film.
Yeah, like...
Because that's traditional nowadays, an hour and 40 minutes. Because then you have 2 hours with the previews.
Unless you're Scorsese.
True.
But, but, like, traditional films, 2 hours in and out with the previews. But now you're talking 3 hours with the previews.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like...
And then you have Endgame, but it deserves to be 3 hours.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Now, this one is like, there's so much fat that could be cut off from it, but it just sort of left it in there. And so it's kind of...
Good to know.
Yeah,
it's a movie.
Yeah, and a biopic with Matt Damon, Christian Bale sounds interesting to me. I just don't know if it's interesting enough for me.
Yeah.
That's my kind of concluding statement.
Yeah, pretty much.
But next on the list, Dr. Sleep.
Oh yeah, that was
didn't see it.
It was on my list, and I actually didn't really want to see it.
It's
but I didn't get around to it.
Yeah. It's a very it's kind of like how you felt about like Knives Out. I sort of feel about this because there's some elements of it that I absolutely love, and then there's just some things that are just so bland and forgettable I really could not even recall. Yeah. Like the villain herself is cool, but like the actual group of villains is just sort of like they're sort of just like the ambiguous like feeding on like people's fears sort of thing, but not like in the way that Shining was, where it's like super ambiguous and like kind of this unknown force.
I think it's a bold call to make this, because it's the sequel to The Shining book-wise, but to make it the sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is bold.
Yeah, it's not as much. It's more just like some of the visual references here and there are. Are
there any direct story things that are like, hey, this happened in the Shining movie, but not the Shining book, and we're referencing that?
Just a little bit. There's like still some references to Shining, like, but it's not really like plot points as much as just like the visual things that we remember, like, you know, the room 237, the tricycle down the hallway scene.
So is it more fan servicey in execution, or is it more story based?
It's definitely more story, which I can definitely commend to that. It's just the story itself has some iffy moments.
Does it seem like an error in the execution of the book, or is it just the book not translating well?
I feel like it's probably just the book not translating well, because it definitely felt like one of the most Stephen King-y of Stephen King adaptations, and that it's super long, which way longer than it needs to be, and has some focus on some moments that aren't really all that significant, but are kind of interesting. Like, there's a moment where Ewan McGregor, who plays older version of Danny, works at a hospital, and there's sort of this moment where we see him using The Shining and like elements of his work that is kind of like genuinely like emotionally resonant and kind of fascinating, but it's not really something that is all that important. It's more or less just kind of a throwaway moment. And the rest of the film has some kind of iffy, like, we gotta get away from the bad guys sort of thing going on, and it really, and I guess a lot of it's just being in the fact that it'll always be compared to The Shining, but it just feels tonally, like, off from it.
Gotcha.
Also, like, it has the weirdest, like, overly green kind of color palette over everything, and it looks like, it looks like very generic kind of, like, horror movie tint. Like, it looks like The Ring. It doesn't look like The Shining.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take a moment. I need to grab the charger from my laptop, because it is dying, having a hard jet. Actually, I have it on my phone because I sent the email to you guys, so it's okay. I'll be all good. Alright, next on the list, we have, gotta find, Good Liar.
Good Liar. Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yes. So, I will kind of say that it ultimately had, like, so it intrigued me. The plot behind it intrigued me. So the one thing I will say, is it had a major twist at the end of the film that I wasn't expecting, which kind of like, I was like it was watchable and it was enjoyable. The acting was phenomenal, and yeah, I think the plot twist at the end makes it like I would recommend it to people just for that sole purpose.
Who's in it?
I don't want to mess this up, so let me see. Good Liar.
I think Helen Mirren might be one of the people in it.
Cast. Yeah, so you have Helen Mirren and then Ian McClelland as your two main characters.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Gotcha. Okay.
Like the one where like they're like he like goes to date people to try and get their money, basically.
Yeah. Okay, I remember seeing trailers for that now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things where if it's like basically it's one of those things where if it's on TV, I would suggest that you watch it.
Okay.
It's not like go buy the DVD right now and get it in your movie collection. So
yeah, definitely.
Alright.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Oh, the next one is 21 Bridges.
Oh yeah.
21
Bridges.
So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I didn't see it. I was just like, I knew it existed, so I was like,
yeah.
oh yeah.
That was one that I saw trailers for. I was like, I want to go see that. Then it came out, and I forgot it came out.
So Chadwick Boseman.
Russo brothers as well, right?
They're the producers, I think. Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman deserves all the credit for this film and more. Like, his acting, phenomenal. Honestly, the plot, at first you're going through, you're like, wow, the plot's pretty dry, you know, it's just a traditional, I gotta find this man thing, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to the end, and you have, like, an oh shit moment. Like, it kind of blows my mind. And, like, the ending of the film is totally unexpected. Like, looking back on it, there's some details that I should, like, if I would have picked up on, I would have been able to, like, figure out the ending. But your first time going through it, you don't pick up on that little stuff. So once you get to the end, you're like...
Yeah.
But, like, now I can't, like... It's a one-time watch thing, because you can't watch the film... I mean, I would be curious to watch it a second time.
And see how your
I would be... Perspective changes, but as far as, like, the effect that the film has, you only get it one time.
Oh, wow.
That's fair.
That's really cool. Yeah, that was a film that I did really want to see, but just... It came out, I didn't realize it came out, and then it went, and I was like, man, when does that movie come out with Chadwick Boseman? Oh, it went out, or oh.
Yeah.
And plus, obviously good acting performances is always good to see. And I mean, Chadwick Boseman, he's obviously on the come up, so.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Seeing him in a non-Wakanda forever
mindset
is good too.
Yeah, I bet he's pretty tired of it by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the most over thing said to him, so.
Yeah.
Alright. Next on the list, which we can maybe talk about some of the talk around the film if none of us have seen it, is Charlie's Angels, the new remake of it.
I did not see it. I haven't even seen the original Charlie's Angels. I don't even know what it is. Yeah. So, Dylan, what was your thoughts on it?
I had a good time. Let me see. Hold on. So, I mean, to me, it's just like your traditional, like, action. Like, it's just your traditional film, really. Like,
kind of blockbustery action.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, it's an enjoyable time. Again, if it's on TV, you watch it. It's not gonna win anything.
Yeah, I remember hearing something along the lines of after it came out, box office wise didn't do as well as the studio had hoped. And I think it was kind of, I forget who. Oh man, I won't get this right. Someone was like, "Oh man, this is why women-led films won't work." And like, well, and there's a lot of talk of like, well. Maybe if there's a good script. It's like it's more a problem with the actual material
than
not because it only contains mainly women.
There's a film later on that we'll talk about that it basically have the exact same point on essentially. But yeah, no, like I remember hearing that too, and I was just like, okay, it's just the first weekend, and it's also not really like super acclaimed or anything.
Well,
like
and
that.
I will say, like, the marketing wasn't that strong for it either.
Yeah,
they didn't push
too.
it, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I mean, it was watchable.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's pretty
do you
much
remember who it was that said that?
It was like some Twitter like film critic or something like that. I can't remember.
But anyway, so thought we just kind of quickly mentioned that. Another film. Oh man, this is one that I want to still see while it's in theaters. Is Jumanji Next Level.
Oh yeah.
So Dylan, I know you've had a lot of hype around this movie.
Again, it's one of those films, like, to me, the cast just makes up for so, like, the cast itself is just is always going to be the best part of that film. Like, you think about it, and, like, it's one of those films where you're, like, going to tell your kids, you're like, this film had one of the best casts of the time. Pretty much. And I mean, again, it's just it's kind of like, it feels kind of like what's it called? What was it called? Jumanji, what was the first
the first one?
No. Welcome to the Jungle. So like, it feels like similar to that, and it kind of has like a similar premise to it. But I think it does make enough changes where it's not just a replaster of what they did before.
Yeah, and the first one was a film that I was very pleasantly surprised with. Like, I went in with very kind of low, mid expectations, and I knew that I'd enjoy the cast, but I wasn't sure beyond that what I'd enjoy, and I actually really had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So it carries that same kind of fun
It carries
energy.
that fun energy, and then there's enough, like, twist along the way where it doesn't feel like the same film.
Yeah,
and
because
I feel like one thing that first film was lacking is a bit of like a sacrifice moment, and I feel like that isn't the case here.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a film I'll still have to get around to see, because that's just one that I'm very interested in after the first one. But now we're into the trailer part of the podcast.
I want to add one trailer to that really quick.
Go for it. We'll do that first.
A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, that's right. Let's talk about that first. Yeah, A Quiet Place Part 2.
Luke is probably not thrilled about it.
I didn't know that there was even a trailer that came out.
Yeah. It was a little teaser trailer.
The
full trailer launches in 2 days.
Oh,
on the 1st of the year.
Okay, alright, then that's probably why I didn't
hear
about it.
The main surprise for me was I wasn't expecting them to carry the same cast. I thought it would be one of those films where it's the Quiet Place universe, another family. So I was like, oh, Emily Blunt's in this. Oh, the same kids. Oh, okay.
But I think I see where you're coming with, and I think it could have still worked. But I think with the ending of the first one, I think continuing that story, I'm really curious to see where they're gonna take it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of room still, even with this family. Because
like we don't know
where are they going.
Yeah. There's a lot of, and I want to remain that mystery. So parts of me like wants to watch the trailer when it drops on the 1st, but then parts of me wants to be like, I literally want to go into this film blinder than a bat.
Which I'll say, the trailers for the first one were very good about like giving you the tone and assorted shots, but it told you very little about the plot.
But I don't even know if I want to see that.
Yeah,
like I almost want to go in blind, empty-minded. But the thing is like, I know I see enough movies where at some point it's going to show up on the previews. So.
But yeah, I'm very interested to see where they take it.
Because I thoroughly enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, so did I. So I'm interested to see what they do with it, especially because I think the world has such an interesting premise behind it.
Exactly.
Where I can't wait to see where they take it. Gonna do more short comedy stuff like Georgie's Choice. Probably at some point. So, yeah, those were films that the 2 films that and the experimental were not normal Just For You Studios films. They're just films I did for different things. So if I do any more just short films where it's like, hey, this class needs me to do it, or these friends are getting together and making it, yeah, I'll do it. it more so just depends on the script, because I didn't write that script. So if someone else writes a script and it's like, hey, there's a comedy, let's do it. Yeah, we'll do more, and that'll probably come out on Just Leave Studios. At the moment, I don't have any more comedy shorts like that planned, but I'm not opposed to doing them. So it's all about the script, especially for comedies, because the script is always so incredibly important. But especially with comedies, like for me, the kind of testament is if the log line, which is the like, what is the film about? If that doesn't make me laugh, then I don't want to do it. If it's a comedy,
yeah.
Like there should be a setup and punchline in the log line for me.
Yeah. Like the setup itself is like something that's humorous, and then you can make even more humor from that.
Exactly. So, but yes, if I'm presented with that kind of a script or story, I'll do it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next on the list, then, we have the Black Widow trailer.
Oh, yeah.
So, the fight scene in it between her and the other Russian... I also realized watching the trailer, holy crap, there's going to be a lot of Russian accents in this movie. I didn't even think about that. But watching the trailer, I was like, oh my god, everyone has a Russian accent. Hopefully, that...
Well, it's some, like, once you hear it enough, it's going to become...
That's what I'm hoping for.
But yeah, like,
in a 2-minute trailer, it was a lot for me.
No, and like probably the first like 5 minutes of the film, you're gonna probably be pretty overwhelmed, and then it's gonna start slowly growing on you by the end.
Yeah, I hope there's something cool with Taskmaster, because at the moment, I'm like, he's such a cool villain, but I'm not totally confident with this execution of him, especially because it almost feels a lot like Baron Zemo from Civil War. Where it's like, hey, we got a character with the same name and kind of a costume. Come see the movie to see Baron Zemo, kinda. And like, I'm kind of worried that it'll be like Diet Taskmaster.
Basically, yeah.
Especially because like the premise of a Black Widow movie with Taskmaster as a villain is so awesome. Because his his stick, is that he can mimic any move or combat ability that he sees. So, like, if he's fighting Captain America, let's say, he'll take some punches to learn Captain America's fighting style, and then we'll go through his archive of fighting styles and be like, oh, this one will totally counter that, and beat the shit out of Captain America after taking some hits. So when you're fighting Black Widow, who has no superpowers and only has her fighting style, that's an awesome villain to pair her up with.
That's someone who's very formidable.
I'm just worried that that's going to be like, oh man, we're doing a Marvel Civil War with Tony Stark versus Captain America, and we'll have Baron Zemo orchestrate it. Kind of. I'm worried that it's going to be one of those, like, kind of villains.
Yeah, like, it's not really, but...
Yeah. Like, Marvel's had a decent track record so far, so I'm hopeful. I'm just very nervous. Like, the suit is the main thing that's doing it for me. The suit, doesn't look like Taskmaster. Even if Taskmaster looks like that, it still looks shit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of nervous based on that. It's like, ooh, are we getting Taskmaster? And I think one of the twists I'd be okay with is if Taskmaster is someone from Black Widow's, I forget the place that she grew up, but it's another Black Widow like her sister is. And that's the twist of like, oh, it's a female Black Widow who mimics the moves and knows all Black Widow's moves because they were trained together type of thing. Like, that would be the only twist that at this moment in time I would be okay with. That's like, oh, well, it's not typical Taskmaster, that I'd still be like, oh, but that's cool. Otherwise, I'm just nervous.
Yeah.
And Red Guardian, I'm also like, I don't know if I agree with all the like, oh, Marvel's fat shaming comments. I get that more with Endgame than this.
Yeah, Endgame was a bit more kind of obvious, but this one, it's like, you know...
At least from the trailer, I wasn't getting that vibe at all.
Yeah. No, actually, kind of like... I sort of had fun with, like, even the little bit that they showed his character off for.
Yeah. I hope that they go, like... Because Red Guardian is essentially Russian Captain America. I hope in this movie they're like, we're making him his own character. Like, he is Red Guardian. We don't even want him to be compared to Captain America other than his intro. He's his own fucking dude.
Yeah, like his own thing.
And you see him kick ass. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun, honestly.
Hold on. After Black Widow, the Eternals. Yeah, I'm honestly more excited for the Eternals because of all the Phase 4 and 5 and 6 potential setup that it can have.
Yeah, it's
and
also
something that wasn't on the agenda that we can quickly talk about related that. Kumail Nanjiani's Instagram pictures about his workout routine for Eternals. Have you guys seen that?
He looks boof.
Jesus.
Also,
like, it's weird to think, like, oh yeah, big stick, and then look at that picture. And you're like, that's the same guy.
That's the same guy. Yeah. Also,
like, big, sick Mr. Muscles.
Mr. Muscles. Also, I think it's kind of interesting the people that they got to make it also, because, like, you saw the writer for our cinematic storytelling class. It's got the same director, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Which is really weird, because that's not a choice I would have thought, but I'm excited to see how he does with this film, though, because that's an interesting director.
Mm-hmm. And Eternals is one of those properties. It's a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of, like, and Marvel property ensemble cast, those 10 people over there have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the Marvel lore, huge.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that people walk into this movie going, who the fuck are the Eternals? And leave wearing an Eternals sweatshirt and all the Disney merchandise being, I love them.
Just, like, manifest right after they see the movie.
It's like, you walk in with, like, $50 in your wallet, you leave with $0 and a bunch of new merchandise.
It's like, I didn't even pay for all
this. What the fuck? I mean, I'm excited for it, but what?
How did I get all this?
I needed that for rent.
Just so you guys know, I do have to head out at 12:30.
Sounds good.
Gotcha.
Then we have a Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer as well.
I did see that.
Which I'm intrigued. I think it kind of shows the back and forth of the two things. Like, you have the 2016?
I think it was 2015.
2015? Whichever year it was of the all-female Ghostbusters. It's like, we're trying something different. Ooh, box office. Yikes. Alright, we'll try something different. Kids Ghostbusters, because Stranger Things worked.
Yeah.
It's
also,
like we're seeing the two ends of like the trying something new.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like a completely new thing. Also, like, tone is really weird to me, because, like, I've never seen Ghostbusters as, like, this big adventure thing. Like, it's been, like, sort of a horror comedy, you know, because it's, like, Bill Murray with the original, and this one's, like, it feels like fucking, like an E.T. thing, or something like that, where it's just, like, mystery.
Which,
and
I'll say, though, I think I'm more on board with this tone than the tone of the 2016 one.
That's fair,
Because I thought they leaned too much into the comedy of that one.
Yeah, like, it was just more or less just, like, kind of a regular pulpy comedy, but there's ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, like, I think, though, that Ghostbusters could have just been, like, it almost felt to me like it didn't need the Ghostbusters name. It could have just been a new ghost hunting thing.
Yeah, like, it didn't need to just call itself Ghostbusters. It could have just been something...
Brand recognition, though.
Yeah.
Whereas, I hope that this one at least kind of feels more like... I don't know, I want it to feel like it's its own thing with, like, hey, honoring the past, doing something new.
Yeah.
Whereas the 2016 felt like, we're doing something new with name recognition. Let's go.
Yeah, not really doing anything else besides that.
Yeah.
That's fair. I could actually kind of agree with that, yeah.
But again, nothing, like, the second half of the trailer with them and the Ghostbuster stuff, that I wasn't totally on board with, but I was actually cool with the atmosphere it was setting up.
That's fair. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Then I think the last trailer we'll talk about is the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer.
I have not seen that, actually.
I have. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of nervous, because I will say, my favorite part of that Wonder Woman was the Steve Trevor, was that his name?
I think so.
Steve Trevor character.
Mm-hmm.
And then they killed him off, and I was like, cool. Now that they're bringing him back, I'm like, ooh, so I wasn't the only person who thought he was a good character. Let him die. He's like,
let him die.
So I'm kind of nervous about them being like, oh man, people liked him. All right, right away for him to come back. Cool, it's in the movie. As opposed to it being more genuine, especially because he's not in the fucking rest of the DC universe. So it's like, so is he just gonna die again? Like, He's gonna die, come back, die again. Then if they do the third one, it's like, all right, we'll write him in again.
They
like,
just realize that there's like a reserve system with like a million Steve Trevor clones.
Yeah, not Steve Rogers. That's the
There's
other
too many fucking
other superhero company.
There's too many Steves in fucking superhero movies. I can't follow.
But yeah, and it's like nothing about the villains have excited me, which was also, in my opinion, the weak point of the first one.
Oh god, yeah, that was definitely a weak point.
And like, I don't know, nothing in that trailer, which again, don't want them to show too much, but I didn't get like the oh man, Cheetah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there's a girl that's supposed to be Cheetah, but it's not Cheetah yet. And it's like, well, you tried that with Ares, and look how it turned out.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I've seen a lot of positive feedback on the trailer. I'm a lot more skeptical.
That's fair.
I mean, obviously Gal Gadot is gonna kill it.
Yeah, and I liked the first one, but I've seen nothing from the trailer that kind of, to me, matches that quality.
You have nothing that sold you on opening night, basically.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Which, again, I'm glad they didn't show too much. But they also showed, in my opinion, not... Like, the quantity's there. The quality of what I saw wasn't.
Yeah.
They didn't show the right things to rope you in.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I just wasn't too excited about it. But it's the next thing I want to have you kind of lead is the Game Awards.
Yeah, we can briefly talk about that.
Yeah, because I didn't see it, but from what you've told me, it was kind of interesting.
I mean, the main thing that we really just need to talk about is probably just the Xbox announcement.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the biggest thing that came out of it. Other than that, I wasn't too impressed.
Yeah, Sekiro won Best Game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which...
There's a lot of controversy.
It's not my kind of game,
mm-hmm.
but I get...
But I guess it has a big enough audience.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I haven't heard enough people talk about it where I feel like people wanted something else to win.
Probably, yeah.
And I think it was just because it has a very niche audience, but that audience is very massive and they're very devoted about it.
Yeah, it would be like Mortal Kombat winning. There's the people who fucking love it, die hard.
Ride or die.
Yeah. What were the other nominations for... I know Death Stranding was one of them.
Yeah, let me see really quick. Game Awards, Best Game.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, then the Xbox announcement.
Oh, yeah, that was the biggest thing.
Which, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't totally excited about it. I'm excited to be getting into the next generation of console.
Yeah, that's fun at least.
The Xbox One came out. It was like, holy shit, then the PS4, holy shit, oh my god, the next generation of gaming. And then we've just kind of been living in that for the past X amount of years.
For the nominees, we have Control, Death Stranding, Sekiro, Resident Evil 2,
the remake?
Super Smash Bros., and The Outer Worlds.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I liked Resident Evil 2. It's kind of weird to put that in a best games category.
For me, from my overall opinion, I haven't played a good chunk of these games, but just from what I've seen and footage I've seen, I ultimately probably think Death Stranding should have won.
Probably,
but that's just my opinion.
I think from a technical side, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
It's not a game that I would ever play.
What, Death Stranding?
Death Stranding.
Oh, no, it's totally out. It's definitely not a traditional game, but I think just for what it did, I think it would deserve it at that point.
Yeah.
Although I've heard really good things about Control, despite seeing no advertisements for it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything, but they showed some footage from it, and it looks phenomenal.
Apparently an indie title as well.
Well,
it wasn't made by a big studio.
And it was, it got a lot of awards and stuff, just not at the Game Awards. But it looked really crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen a pretty large.
I will say, let's be honest, Smash Bros. Shouldn't have been nominated. It was played a lot, but it had enough hype. That's what it was carrying, and it's Smash Bros.
It's it's one of those things where it's almost just
it's a given game, but it shouldn't. I don't think it should have been nominated.
That's fair. It kind of feels almost unfair at this point. And it's just almost obligatory nomination.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, I mean, they've always been great. It's just that, like, it's been always constant is the issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, as far as the Game Awards, pretty much the only thing... The biggest interesting thing that came out of it was the Xbox announcement, which, like you said, wasn't too impressive.
Which, the design to me insinuates, oh, so it's essentially a PC with the Xbox OS in it.
No.
But when we looked at the specs, I was like, mediocre.
You're
mediocre.
like, so
why?
So it's like, it's like, oh, you've had how many years to do this, but it's only a slight upgrade from that Xbox One?
Like, it seems like if Xbox and PlayStation wanted to... Because they're not just competing with each other. They're not even competing with, like, also Nintendo now. Mm-hmm. They're competing with PCs. And they're fucking losing. Like,
yeah,
because most of the games that are coming out on those consoles are also coming out on PC.
Yeah.
So yeah, are they a little bit more delayed? Absolutely, because they have to remake it. But
they're better.
They're looking good.
Like, I think it should essentially be a decked out PC that's cost affordable.
It's like a budget
like
PC.
$2,000. Yeah. But it still has great specs to run all the badass shit and be future-proofed to run badass shit 5 years from now. And I would be totally cool with it looking like a PC, but have the Xbox OS.
But it's not even having PC specs, so to me, keep it at your traditional Xbox design, if that's what you're going for.
Yeah, which apparently you just turn it sideways, and ta-da, it's a sick boy Xbox.
Yay.
Yeah,
okay.
But again, it's not going to fit in entertainment centers.
I'm going to be honest. As excited as I am for Halo Infinite, if the next generation of console comes out and I'm at a place where I'm like, I'd buy one, I'm absolutely going PlayStation.
Well, and
because I feel like I made the biggest mistake in getting Xbox.
Halo Infinite is still going to eventually eventually go to PC.
I'm playing all my Halo games now on PC.
Yeah.
Like,
so
the literal reason I bought an Xbox One, I'm now doing all that same stuff on PC.
Yeah, because, like, why bother?
Whereas PlayStation, let's see, there's Last of Us, Uncharted, Spider-Man. Yeah. It's like, they have all these great excuses. Name the Xbox exclusives that have been to that same level the past 5 years.
Empty list.
Yeah, it's like...
I don't know.
What the fuck?
And you can't even say Borderlands, because, you know, that's on everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah.
Can't even say Halo anymore. Like,
yeah, this is sort of like Xbox is just a different, less interesting PC now.
Yeah.
So I think some closing thoughts before I head out. So Death Stranding, we kind of already touched on it a bit. It looks really good, but like you said, it's not really a game I would play.
No.
It's really weird
and super long.
Yeah,
like I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, you got to play about 15 to 30 hours of it before you can
get good,
get into the game."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Fuck that."
Nothing's been.
So there's that. Modern Warfare, surprisingly still alive, is what I'll say on that. Because honestly, World War II died out really quick.
Yeah.
Black Ops 4 had somehow still been alive, but Modern Warfare is hanging in there. There's a lot of criticism still, but they're making changes. They're listening to the people.
They're doing that.
They're listening to the people, which is the main important thing. So I'll be curious to see how long it stays alive. And then Fallen Order, I've heard nothing but good things about.
Same here.
Man. But yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Dylan, for coming by and talking on this podcast that's way longer than I was hoping it would be. Luke and I will just quickly round out the rest of it, but thank you for being here.
No problem.
There's still one thing I was going to talk about for movies, but I want to let you guys finish up.
Gotcha.
Lots of subject matters.
And I'll actually come over here, move over, by you.
My glass. Oh.
All right.
Dead space in the left side of the frame.
Yeah, in fact, I'll even read just the cam for the last 5 to 10 minutes of it.
Oh wait, I've got a good idea.
There we go.
It's not as great of an idea as I thought it would be, but...
Alrighty. So, what's that last movie thing you want to talk about? Then we'll go back to games.
Alright, so you're referencing in, when you're discussing Charlie's Angels, sort of the idea of, like, you know, women films can't be successful because, you know, misogyny or whatever. So there was another film this year that did that much worse. And
oh my god, yes, I forgot you wanted to talk about this.
So I want to talk about Black Christmas, the remake, because there was, to kind of give a little bit of background, Black Christmas was actually like a film from the 70s, which was kind of one of the first few, like, helped start, like, the genesis of the slasher film genre, because, like, I mean, this was, like, even before Halloween came out, or, like, Friday the 13th, and it was doing some of the similar tropes, and it was a very, very, like, well-made, like, even now looking back at it, like, kind of example of, like, the slasher film genre, so, you know, it helped create that. And then we have this, which is, like, okay, so this film could have played it safe and had the pleasure of just being a boring-ass, like, uninteresting, bad slasher film. But then it decided to be like, nah, we gotta hit some grander importance and talk...
social message.
Social message.
What's the story? But social message.
The social message, yeah. And I don't even feel like discussing what the social message is. You could just look it up on Wikipedia, but, like, the intent is fine. I get what you're trying to say with it, very much so, and I think it's an important message, but, like, holy shit, you do not discuss that sensitive of a subject matter that way. Are you for fucking real with me, man?
Man, I've heard such horrible things that I really want to see it. I don't think I'll have time to see it, but I really want to see it.
It's really not worth it, honestly. Like, okay, if you're wanting to, like, get some more stuff for your worst of the year list...
Exactly.
Yes, but if for, like... Maybe like a...
Not for personal pleasure at all.
No, absolutely not. It's not like a case of like it'll be a fun guilty pleasure or anything like that. It has little to no redeeming values.
No, like it's like when I sat down to watch Dark Phoenix.
Exactly.
In IMAX.
You didn't mention that to me.
Oh yeah, I totally did. I went to like a 10 p.m. IMAX with 3 other people in the audience to go see Dark Phoenix. And man, was that a regrettable decision.
Can I also just say something?
My ticket was like $12, or like $12.80.
Wow, but like no, Black Christmas it has little to no redeeming qualities. And again, it would have been fine if it was just boring ass slasher film, but not. It had to do that. It thinks it's like the thing is, it's like. It's not that, like, you can't make a slasher film with good social messages. Like, Get Out is, like, a perfect example of that. Because here's the thing. One, they tried to make it a good film first.
Yep.
And secondly, their themes are actually intertwined in a way that actually fits the thematic development. Whereas this is just, like, it's just a rape revenge film, essentially. That's literally, like, what it is. And it is, like, kind of makes me gross just thinking about it. Don't watch it, and guess what? Not many people have, so good on you, people. Good on you.
Oh, man. Well, just to quickly catch up on the chat, I saw Marco say this earlier, I just didn't read it aloud. Wonder Woman versus the Cheetah Girls. Not proud of it, just putting it here.
I mean, I guess that is a thing we have to deal with. And then Xbox loading screen.
God.
But,
anyway.
Yeah.
So then back to some of the gaming stuff that Dylan touched on a little bit before he went out. Do you have any thoughts on Death Stranding?
I have a lot of thoughts, because I've actually seen a decent amount of, like, gameplay footage and, like, Let's Plays. It's really... The thing is, it's kind of a style of... It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Because I was assuming, like, since it's Kojima, it would be sort of, like, some variance on, like, what Metal Gear was doing, where it's, like, kind of a stealthy espionage sort of game. But literally, it's kind of like a Euro Truck Simulator, but you're a person.
Yep. Welcome to be... You just paid $60 to be an Amazon employee.
But the thing is, like, my taste in... My preference of video games is weirdly specific, and that's something I'm kind of down with. But I took a look at the story, and I'm just like, what? What? Okay. Because it's a... I'm not, like, fully up on the entire story of the game, but, like, it's sort of, you know, a post-apocalypse. There's a lot of weird things that just sort of happen for reasons. Guillermo del Toro shows up and keeps telling you about how to fix America. And there's just, like... I think it's because it's outside of the Metal Gear genre that it makes me realize how fucking, like, non sequitur and like confused Kojima style of like storytelling is.
Yeah. And I just looked up the runtime of 50 hours.
Yeah, there's also that too. Like,
I can't even finish games that are 6 hours.
Exactly, like fucking, and also just like there's a good chance that you. No, actually, it's almost certain that there'll be a point where you massively fuck up at some point in the game, and you'll have to do a bunch of shit that is very time consuming.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the point where I'm like not as interested in it anymore because it's not as much like engaging, endearing gameplay. It's just tedious and kind of frustrating stuff.
Yeah. I like the gameplay aspect of other players can help set things up for you to help you along your journey. I think that's really cool.
It really is, actually. Yeah.
But I don't think that I'd play enough of it to even get to that point.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I've seen a lot of clips that are both hilarious, but like, if I was thinking, like, if I was a person playing that game, I would just like lose my shit. Where it's like you're carrying like a tower full of like items, and you have to be super careful. Like one fuck up, and then you just like lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I get the feeling like maybe someone who plays like Dark Souls, who's like a complete sadist, would probably enjoy it, but not a fan. I like the idea of like being like a traveling delivery person because I think that could be fun. Because I like boring shit, I guess. But that part, nah. That like completely like took me away from it.
And kind of on that same like the boring shit games, I love House Flipper because then I can just have a podcast on and just let my brain do the things.
Yeah, exactly.
Where like I could see myself listening to a podcast and just doing a trek trying not to lose my boxes.
Yeah.
And having fun with that.
Yeah.
But again, if that were just like a game without a story where I could go and fuck around and do that,
exactly.
Yeah, I could probably enjoy that.
Because yeah, like the thing that made me more interested in this before I found out what the gameplay was like the atmosphere and like what is the story, what is all this imagery leading to, and honestly, from what I've listened to the story so far, I don't fucking know. It's just kind of things that happen, you know. Yeah. There's people with like bridge babies that do things. There's Guillermo del Toro, he's there. There's also other like weird directors for some reason. Why is Conan O'Brien there, and why is he giving you an otter hat? I don't know.
Hey, he's a YouTube gamer, don't you know?
Hey, oh yeah, I forgot. God, he did do that. But yeah, no, like
he does that. I'm pretty sure.
Still does that?
I think so. At least last I checked. Maybe not, but
I wonder if you played Death Stranding on that. But I don't know. I'm not as interested now. The thing is, like, I've never been interested in Kojima's storytelling from like a thematic standpoint, but like he seems like he has cool like visual storytelling and atmosphere. Whereas now that I'm knowing what this is, I'm kind of like not as interested anymore. It's we'll probably never see a game like it ever again, but it's also just like I don't know if it's enough to really engage me that much.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
that's kind of my thoughts.
So the next game to talk about is Modern Warfare, which I didn't go into it with crazy expectations, but it's my favorite Modern Warfare campaign I think I've seen since Modern Warfare 3.
Oh, okay. So, and oh god, how long has that been now?
A long time. Like, I seriously love the campaign. There are moments of it that I'm like, oh, that's kind of stupid or lazy or whatever.
Yeah.
But overall, it has this kind of realistic tension and element of moral ambiguity. Because I love this, like, oh man, our enemies are fucked up, so we're going to do fucked up shit to them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, ooh, I kind of feel uncomfortable with this in certain moments.
Yeah,
and I love that.
It's not very much like a, you know, jingoistic sort of, hell yeah, we're going to get the bad guys. It's like,
yeah,
no, you guys are both kind of shit.
And, like, even Captain Price, it presents him as like, oh yeah, the war hero from the good old days who does some morally questionable shit. Like,
yeah.
One of the first levels is these terrorists bomb, I forget, it's a famous location, I think in England. But there's these bombings going off, and you're one of the British military police officers, essentially.
Yeah.
Who's there, and you're like, oh, I gotta spring into action. And then you go into this one building with Price, and there's a guy with a bomb vest surrounded by a bunch of civilians who are cuffed to stuff. And you're like, oh my god, I have 1 minute to disarm the bomb. And when there's like 10 seconds left on the timer, you still can't disarm the bomb. So Price throws him out the window of the building.
Jesus. Yeah, that's like those are actually kind of interesting moments.
And like that was a civilian, like, just like someone who was doing their day job in the building.
Yeah, like, and then this shit happens. It's like, and I feel like that's kind of more interesting than just like, you know, the regular, like I was saying, like bad guys doing something, because it's like it keeps you on your feet and it makes you sort of almost question maybe like some of the in-game actions that you're putting in there.
Yeah, and this game actually does it well. There are other games that I've seen try this that don't do it well. It basically does fictionalized versions of real-world events that happened, but sensitively, I think.
Yeah,
like there's a moment that's like, oh, this is the Osama bin Laden raid, what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But it feels so tense that like you're literally going house to house, raiding the house, trying to kill the soldiers without killing the wives and children.
Yeah.
Unless the wife, as you're leaving, pulls a gun behind her back and tries to kill you type of thing.
Yeah.
But it is so intense and goes on for so long that you're like, Jesus, let this mission end already. Because like any room there could be someone from anywhere.
Exactly,
who in one shot could like kill you.
Yeah, it's just like, you have no idea, like, your vision is probably kind of impaired for
It's like one of those missions, it's like, this is so cool, but man, I would never, ever, ever want to do anything like this in real life.
Yeah, nah. or just, like, play that mission
like,
specifically.
it doesn't glorify it.
No,
in a way that's like, you like playing the mission, but you feel icky afterwards.
Yeah, like, it's almost like kind of playing a horror game in a way where you're just like, you have the adrenaline going, but by the end of it, you're just like,
yeah,
nah.
like, I love that.
Yeah.
So I think it's the best Modern Warfare in quite a long time, and I hope they continue it, especially because you don't realize it till the end. It's a reboot of the Modern Warfare storyline.
Oh, okay.
It ends in a way, like, it ends essentially right where the first Modern Warfare campaign started, but in a way to where you know that that's not canon, but it's kind of setting up to do that same kind of storyline.
Yeah, like it's a new version of it now.
Yeah, which I would actually be really on board with, especially with the style they took for this game.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, like, the first Modern Warfare trilogy had some really fucked up moments.
Yeah, I haven't really played them, but I know definitely, like the no Russian mission in the second game was kind of one of those moments. And
yeah, even the first moment, you're like in a town, and you find out the enemy has a nuclear bomb, so you're like, oh, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And as you're running away, the nuke goes off.
Oh, right, the nuke scene, and then like the moment where you're basically like you can still move and crawl through like the debris
as
and all
you're
that.
Being radiated by the nuclear blast and dying.
Exactly. Yeah. And that
like,
scene.
it handles subject matter like that, and I'm glad that in 2019 Call of Duty's had the balls to be like, let's do another one of those.
Yeah, like let's do something like that, and I think it's much better to do that than to just do, you know, regular military shoot 'em up game.
Yeah.
And has something that's like, it's just like it's stating something on it, but it's not like Black Christmas where it's like saying something and not saying anything at all.
It's not by what it's saying; it's the way what you're doing makes you feel.
Exactly,
which is really powerful and I think really well done.
Yeah, exactly. It knows how to make itself effective.
Yeah, and even what Dylan was saying about the multiplayer, this game took a big chance on the multiplayer because it's unlike any other Call of Duty. Which I think is both a good and a bad thing, because it feels much more like a Battlefield game. It's a lot slower paced.
Gotcha.
So you can't use a lot of the same techniques, and there are some stupid weapon balancing things. Like, we're trying to be realistic, so this one gun is like the only gun you can use if you want to get a kill. So it's like...
Fair enough, yes.
So there's some balancing issues for sure, of like, hey, you just unlocked this gun that you should never ever use.
Don't try it.
So... I think that's a big problem with it. I was a huge Battlefield fan, so I'm on board with the slower, more methodical. Like, I'm gonna stay with my buddies here. We're gonna move as one unit, and if people start shooting at us, we're all gonna take cover and wait for them to reload. Like,
yeah, essentially, yeah. Being more deliberate in your choices and
which
battle.
I admit it doesn't feel Call of Duty the multiplayer, but I'm personally okay with that. But I understand why people are not.
Yeah, I get you.
But I'm really glad they're updating constantly, patching stuff, rebalancing guns. Like, I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
That they're still, like, working on the game.
Yeah.
Because I think that's helping its longevity.
Definitely.
Then the last game to talk about, Jedi Fallen Order, came out.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of streams on that one, and it's just like, it looks like a lot of fun, and I wish I had something to play it on.
Yeah, like, I think it's phenomenal. Probably the best Star Wars game in a long, long time. And it's such a polar opposite to launch Battlefront 2.
Oh. Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
It actually shows course correction in a good way.
Yeah, like in a way that actually matters and is not just like, well, sorry.
Yeah,
guys.
even the course correction that Battlefront 2 has had since launch, I'm super happy about.
That's good to hear.
Where it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure no microtransactions, or they're only cosmetic. I forget which it is now, because they had both and then they changed it, and then they're like, okay, no, this is the definitive one.
Yeah.
I don't remember if the definitive was no microtransactions, or yes, but they're only cosmetic. It was one of the two.
Gotcha.
But then they've added so many characters with so many skins. Like now, pretty much every Star Wars character is in the game.
Oh, sweet.
Like you got all the prequel characters, you got all the sequel characters, all the original trilogy characters. Each with skins, even like the bounty hunters from Episode 5, I'm pretty sure.
Oh dang! So you even got
with unique abilities and playstyles.
You even got like little specific characters.
Bosk, the Lither bounty hunter, is in the game. I'm pretty sure. Greedo is in the game.
Oh shit! You got Greedo.
So it's like in a bunch of different levels and things like that. Though apparently, one thing I'm kind of bummed about is they're pretty much constantly, with every update, removing maps and adding in new ones, as opposed to just adding in new ones.
Yeah.
It's kind of bummy, but whatever. But like, I am very happy with the newer Star Wars stuff, because now, if you want to play a good Star Wars multiplayer, you play the new version of Battlefront 2 multiplayer.
New version.
And if you want a good Star Wars campaign, you play Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I'd say that seems pretty accurate. I'd agree with that.
Like, I love the gameplay of it. My brother actually he was talking to me about it, because he was like, man, I hate the game. Because you want to know what he did? But the first level, the planet Dathomir opened up. They're like, oh, I guess that's the next story place. Whereas, if you know the game, Dathomir is a very difficult planet, and it opens up so that you can get the double-bladed lightsaber early on if you know where it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you go to the other planet, and you progress the story there. He didn't know that, so they're like, man, the enemies are so difficult, I can't find any of the story stuff, I don't know why I'm here, but I keep playing it and getting killed, and I had to tell him, like, try going to the other planet. So,
yeah, just like...
So he did, and I was like... And he talked to me about it over Christmas, like, dude, I love the game. It's such a good game. Oh my, it's so great. I've been playing it nonstop.
Just like a full 180 after that. God.
But yeah, I think it's phenomenal, and I hope they churn out a sequel to it fairly soon. But Respawn has been on it.
Yeah.
Like, Titanfall. Great. Maybe not a $60 game. Would have been an awesome $40 game, but still a great game. Titanfall 2. I have not finished it, but apparently one of the best single-player campaigns of all time.
Oh, dang.
And I've played the multiplayer a shit ton, and it's so fun. Apex Legends, actually competing with Fortnite and all the other big battle royales, and now Fallen Order. Like, man, talk about a great dev studio.
Yeah, honestly. Like, they've been getting it on for these past few months.
Yeah, like, jeez.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that was all I had to talk about. How long has this podcast been? It was way longer than I thought it would be. About 2.5.
Hey, you could watch all of The Rise of Skywalker in that time.
Yeah, man.
And you could also not.
This is not boding well for our year in review podcast, which is always our longest podcast. We've had 2 long recording sessions back to back. We're gonna talk about everything forever.
At least
we do that.
At least I only have, like, one thing to talk about while you guys are talking about, like, games.
That's
I'll just
fair.
be talking about TV shows.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with all your friends. Thank you for joining us on this long catch-up podcast. It was really like 2 podcasts in one.
Pretty much.
But hey, I enjoyed it, so I hope you did as well. So, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys on the J4U Film Award, Year in Review podcast, and anything else we decide to do. Alright. Hopefully I can... Let me move over to the screen so I can actually see what I'm clicking on. There we go. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.